Hello, everyone. Welcome to Download Podcast. This is going to be the Christmas special where we're going to be talking about our favorite gifts, the holiday memories around Christmas, and everything in between, and maybe some of the fails of things that we asked Santa for, but he didn't provide. But tonight, of course, I have with me Great White North,
Yeah, though.
Zombie JLT1,
Also, your community's Krampus. Thank you very much.
and one of my childhood friends, Andrew.
What's up? What's up?
So, guys, where do we want to start with this? I know we kind of started getting into this a little bit, as far as like stores and what you could find in locations, but um, it
I
is
gotta.
that season.
Yep. I have a suggestion, but to kind of build off where you're starting with this,
Mhm.
let's talk about from what I remember the holidays being the hardest part about the wait. Nowadays, as adults, Christmas is here like that,
Yes.
Mhm.
especially when you have kids of your own. One minute you're planning their birthday, next thing you know, Christmas is right around the corner. You blink your eye, there you go. As a child, though, I remember the long anticipating wait from when school starts to when you get that Christmas break. Thanksgiving was cool. Sure, we got like a few days, maybe a week. No, 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 no. Christmas break. 2 solid weeks. Christmas, New Year's. We had that whole time
Hmm.
to wait for the holidays. And then once Christmas happened, we had that 1 week to utilize everything we got for the holiday before we had to go back to school. But I
Mhm.
tell you, it was like time slowed down to a crawl as a kid, just waiting.
The thing about it too is like I remember it felt like we had 3 weeks off. It felt like we
Yeah.
were we were out of school for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and then by the time like January 5th or 6th came around, it was like, oh man, we got to go back. Why? No, because my son does
Mhm.
that now. But it just felt longer. Even with
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, I don't really remember when I was younger having a week fully off. I think we only
Mhm.
had like I think Wednesday to Friday off, and that was it because we were there
Yeah.
at school for 2 days and then we were out.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the time I was out of school, then it all of a sudden became a whole week. And I was like,
Hmm.
what the hell? We didn't get a week for Thanksgiving. I can't prove it, but I almost feel like they had siphoned some of the days off of the Christmas vacation to add to Thanksgiving because even the Christmas vacation doesn't seem long for them now.
No,
So
I mean it's 2 weeks. It's still 2 weeks. It's. I just remember like getting off before the 18th. You had like this week before, then the week of Christmas, and then the week like of New Year's, where you would start back that next following week.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it just felt like you had 3 weeks off. I remember it being longer, but for us, it did feel long getting to that point. And when me and my sister would go to my mom's, because we'd always go that week before up to Christmas Eve, and then my dad would come pick us up that night, and so we would be home for Christmas night. I mean Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, and we would be there the whole time, back at my dad's. But it was tough being at my mom's, man. Like it was just tough. Like because it wasn't always the greatest time. At the time I loved my mom and we had our siblings and stuff, but I hated being there. There'd be times like I just want to go home. And it wasn't really the whole thing of like Christmas. I just didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Um, but waiting to that moment, waiting to get home because you knew that the good toys were going to be at home.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That's me going to my aunt's house as a kid. As I say, well, more my grandma's house. If I couldn't, sometimes my parents wouldn't let me pack up my stuff.
mhm.
Yep.
And I loved my grandma's house. And she had a den in the back with a feather bed that you'd lay on it and you'd sleep for days.
Oh
And
man.
they used to sometimes, because like if we were sharing the room, they wouldn't let me bring my Super Nintendo. or later my PlayStation. And like at most I had my Game Gear with me, which
Yep.
was good enough, but it's like I need more. So if I would go and visit her during the summer, then of course I could take my stuff with me.
Hmm.
But yeah, I feel you because it's like I could last like a week or two, and then it's like this is killing me. And then
Yeah.
because like my grandma, so she lives in essentially real life Raccoon City, where she lived. And I remember they had a big mom and pop video store, and so we would go there and rent tapes. And if it was one of those vacations where my parents were with us, of course, I didn't have any of my consoles with me, and I'd be walking past that section every time, like, oh, I'd look at the game on the shelf, oh, killing me.
The
No,
reminders, the constant reminders.
yeah, and of
Yeah.
course, because my grandma was very religious, so like I can't be renting RoboCop, and it's like, man, I own Home Alone that I've seen a million times, and it's like if my movie selection was rough. I don't have games, so it was like, uh, it was rough sometimes. Like, man, it's like a time I told my mom one time, I was like, why don't y'all just send me here so I can bring my stuff? Y'all stay back in Texas. Just let me go. It's like, oh, stop it.
See, I would have made the argument that RoboCop is Jesus Christ in futuristic times. He died for our
Right?
sins and was
Yeah.
resurrected.
He died for the
Hmm.
Yeah, of
sins of
course.
old Detroit.
Right.
Yeah. And he
Yeah.
resurrected.
Because
So
I
you
mean, I was
don't.
still, I guess that's like the weird thing about, being a kid in the 90s. I had RoboCop toys. It was a freaking R-rated movie. I went
Hmm.
as Freddy Krueger for Halloween a couple times. Dude's a child molester. It's like, what the hell's going on?
Yep. The
Oh
good
man.
True.
days.
Yep.
And I had
Terminator
battle
toys.
damaged RoboCop, so he's all jacked up looking, blood.
Yeah. After he tries to break the Prime Directive number 4.
I think it was RoboCop 2, uh, right before they tear him apart. Because like
Yeah.
you could take him apart. You could remove his chest plate,
Yeah,
his helmet, and he was all
that
messed
was part
up.
two.
And
Well,
yeah.
because
But it
remember
was a kid's
the
toy, and I'm just like,
yeah.
yes, this is what I want.
Well, remember he does get blown to shit in the midway point of the movie. I mean, he's like he goes to arrest Dick Jones, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well you can't gonna do that." And they have the shootout and everything, and that's why he ends up in the factory and stuff.
Yeah, no, this was specifically the RoboCop 2 one where they take him apart.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like
Yeah.
you could remove his arms and his torso and everything. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of funny thinking back on it, what you kind of got away with then. It was fun. But yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that at my grandma's. Even when I would go by myself, my mom would tell me, just like watch what you play when you're there. I don't want to
Yeah.
hear from her. I don't want her to get it on the phone and complaining because it would happen. I think I don't even remember what I was playing. It honestly might have been Link to the Past. It's like, what is this wizard game that he's playing? Is he okay? So
You always
Yeah,
got to
luckily.
wonder how people are with that kind of thing, where it's like, why are you playing this game where there's a wizard in it? Well, I'm trying to save the world here, Grandma or Mom or whoever. That's the
yeah.
devil. It's like, oh, so God wants you to have the villain win and destroy everything and take
Okay,
over.
so perfect. It's
Mm.
hilarious you say that. Perfect is this most amazing story about my grandma. So this is later on. It's probably like 99. We're over there. I'm older, so I can kind of like do a little bit more at this point. And my cousin Steven, his dad always had my uncle always had like a nice computer, and he was like, "Hey, do can you help me get like some computer games to run on this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I could take a look. Let me see what you got." So he had a whole bunch of floppy disks, and then I remember my hand started shaking because I had only had the shareware version of this. I'm still a kid, so I can't buy nothing. He had full version Doom, which even at 99, I still hadn't been able to play yet, like the full game, just the shareware, which is like, the first episode. And I was like, he's got freaking Doom? I was like, oh man. So I start putting in all the floppies and I started installing the whole game. It works and it plays. I'm just like, yes, I'm gonna play freaking Doom. Well, so they live like around like tornadoes in Tennessee and stuff, so they have basements. And this was the story I told you, Vince, and your dad about the poltergeist. This was that house. And so I'm down there in the basement and I'm playing Doom and I'm like, this is the greatest day of my life. You can end it all right here. I'm happy. I'm done. This is excellent. I'm playing Doom finally in 1999. And I didn't hear, her, but my grandma had come down the stairs and she came up behind me. She's like, what on earth are you playing? What are you doing? I was like, oh, I was like, I'm just gonna tell her the truth. I was like, this is Doom. What? You're doomed? I said, well, yeah, like you're on this base in Mars and they open up a gate to hell and like all the demons come out. She goes, what? Demons? I said, yeah, but I'm killing them. I'm like killing the demons so they don't like take over the world. I'm sending them back to hell. And she sat there and she thought about it. She's like, I can't argue with you. And so she's kind of I remember she looked at me and she goes, okay. She turns around and walks out.
Should have said Doom Guy was a battle priest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What? Are you
Oh,
doomed? So
oh
yeah,
man.
it's like I'm just gonna tell her the truth. Yeah, I'm killing demons and I'm sending them back. Well, okay.
Scream a Bible verse every time you shoot one of them.
Yeah, right.
I start running out and start saying stuff don't even make any sense.
Right? Power of Christ, shotgun.
Yeah, you can see the demons go.
So we're all in agreement. It kind of felt like we had 3 weeks off, maybe four, for the Christmas holiday. What about you, GWN?
Pretty much the same concepts over here. Although my Thanksgiving would have been a month earlier than you.
Right.
Ours is in October, so there was definitely a further separation between Thanksgiving to Christmas and all that. But it, especially going after Thanksgiving for us, it's like, oh my God, we have to wait another 2 months to get to
Mm.
Christmas. So it felt like an eternity as a kid, especially whenever you're waiting for those gifts that you're hoping to get and things like that. And yeah, it's the same feeling as well. It felt like it was longer than 2 weeks, but it was definitely 2 weeks. And whenever it ended, you're like, oh, we want more. I want to be with my friends. We want to play our games or whatever we got. Um, it was such a great feeling back then too. Whenever you finally got downstairs and you just see everything under the tree, and you're like, "Where did it come from? How did you do it?" And years later, we all know. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of good memories there. Um, yeah, I feel the same way as you guys were mentioning. Just it felt longer considering where our Thanksgiving, because we don't have a week off. Ours is always the Monday,
Yeah.
the first Monday of October or something like that,
Hmm.
Mhm.
around the 14th or whatever. But yeah, yeah, it's just I know the feeling for sure.
So
It's just
do you
sorry,
guys observe Thanksgiving and Halloween in the same month,
same
or
month. Yep.
man, gluttony with food, gluttony with candy.
2 weeks too. So like ours is around the 13th, 14th, whatever the Monday is around that time for our Thanksgiving. So we'll have that particular day off and back to school and all that. And then 2 weeks later, the 31st roughly, we got our candy as well. So
Man.
Maybe that's the reason why they do it in October, because they give them 2 months before the feast again. They got to have a diet in between.
well, I guess in that logic, I never thought of it that way, to be honest. Excuse me, honest with you. We're just used to it over here. But
Yeah.
now that you're saying it that way, it's like, wait, yeah, we had our turkey and then we went and had candy a couple weeks later.
Man.
Okay, I did not even think of it that way. Wow, no wonder we had to wait a couple more months for more turkey. Uh, that is one of my favorite things about that time too. Isn't just about the gifts. Obviously, we were kids, we wanted to play with or whatever we got. But then we would go and visit our family members. Like we have a big feast with everybody. It got less and less over the years, but whenever I was like, I don't know, between 5 and 10, I guess, because we would get gifts there too. So it was a big thing there. Like we'll each get a gift from our family members or aunts and uncles and things like that. But then we can hang out with our cousins and playing whatever and have more Thanksgiving or not Thanksgiving, but more turkey. I love turkey. But and so we had it Christmas Day and then or Christmas Eve or whatever the case, and then we'll have Christmas Day or vice versa, depending on how we met with the family and all
Yeah.
that. So there was a lot of food at that time. I can do it over again and over again.
Right.
I just love it. But no, at that same time, we get to have all the fun. But the way you were saying, like going to your aunt or whatever to play, hopefully you get to play or bring some systems over. But we never got a chance to really do that. But my grandparents are kind of cool in that way because they had an Atari at the very least, so we got to play Atari there. And then when we went to my mom's husband's side later on, they had the Nintendo with those 101 games in one cartridge. So
Yeah.
there was ways to do that, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then I wanted to get back home as soon as possible and play whatever game I got that year. But yeah,
Yup. hmm
So
I had
Especially at my
the
cousin's house, their controllers are always sticky, and I was like,
oh
I have to clean. There's not even my stuff. And I'm that way to this day, even with my stepson when he was younger. Can I borrow this controller? Let me see your hands.
yup. I tell my
okay.
son that.
And
Now
I
it's
would do that before we'd play because, I was one of the kids where it was like I was a one console house, so I couldn't have like PlayStation and 64. I couldn't have Super Nintendo and Genesis. I always had to live vicariously through someone else. So my cousin was the one that got the N64, so I loved going over there and playing it. But he screwed up his controller so badly that I remember for one Christmas, just real quick, I asked for an N64 controller, and I would take it over there. That would be mine. And I remember he was like, "Well, can I use your controller?"
no.
No, you may not.
No.
Nope.
It's like it's my system. Yeah, it is. It's my controller.
Back away,
Yep.
Spawn. No. Man. Now, so that's a question. Um, when you would get gifts or games and stuff, would you get multiple games? Would you get one game for Christmas? Was it like, how did that work for you guys? Because I know for me, it was usually only a birthday or Christmas. I get one game each, and that was about it. Unless I mowed lawns or
Right.
yeah.
For me, it was definitely one game, a major event, birthday, Christmas.
Hmm.
Oddly enough, the Easter Bunny would sometimes leave me video games I
Yes.
wanted, so thank you, Bugs. Um, I was okay with that, waking up with a Easter basket that had Cadbury cream eggs in it and Pokemon Red. Hell yeah,
Hmm.
sign me
Let's
up.
go.
But typically I would get maybe one game, maybe two, if I was lucky enough. If whoever was getting them managed to get, a good deal on it. And most of the time, I shouldn't say most of the time. I was typically not greedy as a kid.
Hmm.
Um, when I would talk to my mom about what I wanted for Christmas, and when I'd go see Santa and Krampus, of course, um, I used to just say, what I really want for Christmas is this or this. That was it. I didn't ask for anything else. Sometimes Santa would be like, "Are you serious? Like one of two things?" Like, yeah, I'm not greedy. I don't know who's been sitting on your lap, Chris, but it ain't me. And sometimes what it would come down to is I wouldn't even ask for a game on Christmas. I remember a few Christmases in a row, I either asked for what the hot toy was that year, or I would ask for a new version of my favorite board game, if you can even call it that, Simon. I asked for that a few times in a row for Christmas, because I played mine so much that I crashed them. it is actually possible to crash that game from like
Oh,
playing
geez.
and actually winning the game. You can crash the unit. Like we're talking blue screen. Um, so there were a few times I asked for that a few years in a row, but mostly I got one game a holiday. When I was older, when I started being like a teenager, then I would sometimes luck out and get two games. One would be from Santa, and then one would be from like my mom and my grandma or whoever. So
Mhm.
um, that eventually happened, but it wasn't until I was much older that I would do that. And it was still the same formula for me. Um, I remember the year that I asked for um, I said Killer Instinct or WrestleMania the arcade game for Super Nintendo, one or the other. And I wake up, KI's right there from Santa, and then I opened up a gift for my mom and she gave me WrestleMania. So I was like, yeah. But
Did you
the
get the Killer
hardest,
Instinct with the CD with
yes,
the
I
music?
did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I had that for years and years until my
Oh,
CDs were stolen, and I was like, shit.
same, same. I lost my box. I lost the book. I lost the CD.
Yep.
My brother got into my room and yeah, that was the end of it. But yeah,
Game over.
that was the year that came out. I still have my original cart. Um, and I have WrestleMania still boxed, but I wish KI was still, complete. And that was the year I lucked out being able to bring my consoles over to my aunt's house because her husband used to play KI with us in the arcades.
Oh.
So I was like, "Hey, guess what I got this year?" And I showed him the card and he goes, "Please tell me you brought Hook It Up."
Oh,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's somewhat similar for me. Birthdays were usually one game, maybe. Like I think I kind of uh it was like unspoken agreement with my parents that Christmas was the Hail Mary. So if I didn't ask for too much for my birthday, it got backloaded into Christmas. So there was like
Mhm.
some birthdays where it's like just a cake, let my friends come over. That's it.
Yeah.
But then also real, just like Zombie, very similar. Easter every now and then bust out and I'd get like a movie or a game, and this will factor into my list later. But it's one of the meat reasons I love my mom. I wanted the Mortal Kombat movie that year. She had dropped me off at the Dollar Cinema to watch it. Of course, I'm a little kid. It was the greatest movie I ever saw in my life. Still holds up as one of the best video game movies in my opinion. Uh, but anyway, I was like, hey, I want Mortal Kombat on VHS for my birthday, which is in August. And you gotta love them. He gives me my Easter basket, and she goes, I got you that Mortal Kombat movie. And I was like, what? Really? You did? So she did. However, it was not the actual Mortal Kombat. I actually think it was I'm gonna have to pull it up. It was a real movie called Mortal Kombat, but I think it was spelled with the C, so correctly. And it was like a really weird martial arts flick. And I'm like trying to look it
Oh,
up. And I remember she was so happy. She's like, I got it for you already, baby. And I was like, oh, what is this? And I remember I had to explain it to her. And that was an interesting conversation. And she's like, well, I'll just take it back and I'll see if they have the
yeah.
actual one. And sure enough, that's what she did. And so, but I remember like opening up the basket and I got the chocolate and everything in there. And I picked this VHS up and I'm like, what the hell is this? I've never seen this in my life.
That definitely goes to the fail stuff, like fails of things you asked for, but you got something that's close but not completely
Oh,
it.
that's on my
Yeah.
list. I have that on my fails list. It's
Um,
just
That
it's a nice attempt.
very similar to Zombie. Every now and then I'd get like hey, what the hell for Easter? I'm like, that's awesome. But yeah, for my birthdays, it was just we all kind of agreed if I pull up a little bit on my birthday, then Christmas will be that much better. And so I just kind
Yeah.
of like went along with it, and I was like, say no more. So that's why even as an adult, I love this time of the year. I just like Christmas.
Reminds me of that Christmas episode when Bart gets caught shoplifting because he wanted
Hmm.
Oh,
that
he wanted
Mortal
Bone
Kombat
Storm.
Bone Storm.
Buy me
Yeah,
Bone Storm or go to
go
hell.
to hell. And then at the end when he and Marge reconcile and she says, I got you a game and
Lee Carvalho's putting challenge. Yes.
and he's
You
like,
chose pile
"Oh,
drive.
yeah, he has to do the same thing where, he's
Yes.
like, I asked the clerk what everybody's asking for, and he's like, oh, yeah, this
Yeah.
game. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Great episode.
100%. Yeah.
Try and save. I wish we had a store that was called that.
That'd be amazing.
Try and save.
Try and save. I'm gonna try and save.
Yeah.
We actually have a restaurant out here, not to stray off topic too much. It actually says in their advertising, for gourmet cuisine, not here. So that makes
Honesty.
me wanna order them more.
Right?
Right.
Do I win a prize if it is not what you say it's supposed to be?
Yep.
So what about you, Jason?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess kind of in the same vein. At least it was one game per, I don't know, birthday or Christmas or something. Maybe I got two games one year. Um, but I do have an interesting story about one of the gifts that would have been in my birthday section. I think it's birthday or Christmas or something like that. This is how my family is so messed up and likes to trick you. I come home from school one day. There they are. I'm like, I can't wait to get my own first Nintendo. I was so young at the time, like in the '80s. I'm like, I want Nintendo. I want everybody's playing it, and all my friends got it. I'm gonna ask for that for my birthday or Christmas or something like that. Um, I come home. My uncle's there. My parents are there, and they're playing the Nintendo. I'm like, oh, my uncle brought the Nintendo over. Great. They're playing the game. They're playing Duck Hunt and all that. I'm like, oh, can I try? And like, yeah, play. And we're all playing for like a good hour. And my uncle's like, here you go. This is your present. They were playing my present before I even got to play my present.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was mad and happy at the same time. I had weird emotions that day. So yeah,
I would too.
But no, I was happy that I got it there, but I didn't even get to open it. But yeah, same thing. So like it was always going to be that I'll ask for like one or two games, and I'm sure I'm going to get one of them each year.
Yeah.
We'll get into the other big story I have when we get to a different list because
Yeah.
that is the big one besides having the NES being played in front of me before they say this was yours. But I love my family sometimes, but like, but no, yeah, no, same. I'm just happy whenever I get to see something. But there's been times where you get like, dog treats as your present, and then they're like, no, it's really for the dog, but your name's on it. But
Right.
Oh my
like I said, I love
gosh.
my family.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's my high school years right there.
So that would go under the fail one, I guess you could say. Technically, I love my dog at the time, so half fail. I don't know. But,
Yeah. For me it was birthday, Christmas. I'd get a game from my grandmother or toys from my grandmother, or I get a game and toys from my dad. Um, a lot of times I had to work to get my own stuff, or it was like a special occasion, maybe there was something on sale. But I know that for what was it? For one year I got Donkey Kong Country for Super Nintendo from my dad. And I remember spending hours on that game. My dad's like, we got to go to your grandmother's to go have Christmas over there. I'm like, no, because we love going over there because we'd have Christmas dinner. open presents, and then we'd go to my uncle's and have, well, it was Christmas lunch and then Christmas dinner at my uncle's, and I'd get presents there. But I just remember like that year, I was like, "Can I take my Super Nintendo?" No, because you're not gonna have anywhere to hook it up. And
Yeah.
we were only there for a little bit, you know. But man, you're talking what, 93, 94?
Hmm.
I can't remember what year that game came out for some reason.
Which
But
game?
95, I think.
Donkey Kong
Donkey Kong
Country.
Country. Actually,
Yeah,
95
because
does
I
sound right.
yeah, because
Yeah,
I did the Blockbuster Video Gaming Challenge on
yeah, I
that
did
one.
too.
Completely shit the
Yeah.
bed as what would become the norm in my life when it came to tournament video games, Vince. That Tony Hawk thing wasn't like an anomaly. I
Hey,
I can do
both of
great
those.
when I'm in my room, but then I get there to the actual place and I shit the bed.
Well, I almost got second place on the first Tony Hawk one, but I got second place on the other one though because that stupid kid in that controller.
Yeah, the
We, we,
you got Mad Catz.
I did get Mad Cast.
Oh,
Yeah.
He legit had to play on a Mad Catz controller where the
that's
like
so
just
funny.
pretend this is Mad Catz, but the top part of the analog stick would turn.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
Vince, whenever your thumb would move, just imagine that top turning at the same time. So actually would have been the left stick.
And see,
I
Uh
I think we had that same exact Mad Cats, the infrared one with the elongated ends that look like the Ultimate Warrior's mask.
yeah, this one I think was like I remember it being like a translucent blue.
yeah,
Mm,
and
It is just a piece of shit.
because I remember
yeah.
me and Andrew got there like 20 minutes before it started, and I was like, okay, so where are we playing? And she showed us, and I'm looking at the controllers, and I'm like, do you have a regular PlayStation 1 controller or a PS2? No, yeah, it's PS2 controller we can play with this. She goes, no, all I got is the one and the Mad Cat. So I'm like, can I run home real quick to go get mine?
It's like, no, the tournament must be completed right now.
Yeah, and then
Because I mean, of course, in hindsight, she's like, I want to get home. I don't give a shit about these kids.
Yeah,
yes.
you know for a fact.
And
That's what it
it
was.
wasn't one of those things where like had I brought that controller that it would have decided the outcome because both me and Andrew would have been at the end because the scores that we were pulling off, nobody could beat. None of the kids could beat it. But the problem was is that when I got up against that last kid, I couldn't do anything on that
Because
controller.
Yeah.
it was Tony Hawk 2 or 3. It
No,
was 2.
it was
It
four
was
because this is before
it was
Underground.
4 because it had okay, so the trick was this little kid, he would go and he would hit a grind around a fountain and would just rack up points, hop off, manual, ride the manual back to the fountain, and then just keep going around to get crazy points. But he was using the PS2 controller that they had, which was, the Sony brand, and it was easy. So again, whenever you hop on that and you have to like control your balance, Vince got the shit end of the stick because
Because I
he got the
could.
Mad Catz controller on that one.
Yeah.
Because we were doing the split screen instead of getting a solo run, which is how it should have been.
Yes.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, Vince, can I share my screen real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So, let me see.
We never had to worry about that during the SNES days. No,
no.
sir.
No. Mm-mm. No. Those controllers
True.
were great.
Hmm. Even if you
Even,
had the basic super pad, just like the bulky ones with the elongated buttons that stuck out, that was like I have a few of those, but even those worked well. They lasted, you know?
Oh,
This was
this
the
is the
movie I was thinking of. It was in Mortal
more.
Kombat. This
with
is
Roddy
what.
Piper, man.
And here's the funny thing. I don't remember Roddy Piper. I just remember they had Sonny Chiba in it. So I'm sitting here going like, I know it was combat spelled with the C, and I'm sitting here like going through IMDb trying to find the damn thing. This was it. It was Immortal Kombat with Sonny Chiba. I don't remember. I don't even know if I've actually like sat down and watched the whole
We need to
thing.
watch
She
this.
she took it back, but I feel like I watched it later on, like on Showtime or something. And I was like, oh hey, that's the fake Mortal Kombat my mom accidentally got me. But I just remember Sonny Chiba was in it because you've seen plenty of Sonny Chiba movies. But yeah, Roddy Piper, I don't remember being in the movie, but yes, this was it.
Let me
Immortal
ask you the
Kombat.
Let me ask you this. If she had gotten you Mortal Kombat The Journey Continues or whatever the name of that horrid cartoon
Animate-
was.
Okay,
on USA.
No, that was Defenders of the Realm. I'm talking
Defenders of
about
the Realm kicks ass.
I'm talking
It-
about the one
I know which one
that's-
you're talking about. It was almost like didn't it was computer animated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that one. I was a kid though. I loved it, to be honest with
Okay,
you.
so you would have
I probably couldn't go back and watch it now.
No.
Like I like Defenders of the Realm. Defenders of the Realm I can
Realm
still watch.
wasn't bad. It was better than the
Um,
Street Fighter for sure.
And I also
Yes.
had a better appreciation for Conquest, Mortal
I
Kombat
love
Conquest
Conquest.
later
is
on.
great.
I remember not
Aw.
liking it when I was younger, but as I got older, I'm like, dude, this show
I
actually
loved
kicks
it.
ass.
My son actually got into Mortal Kombat because of that show.
Oh wow.
He was
Yeah.
on a huge Mortal Kombat kick. Now he's back to Minecraft, so I died a little, but
It's Mortal Kombat Minecraft, Mom.
Yeah. Well, I got to get the. I mean, I have the DVD release of it for
Of which one?
Conquest. Conquest.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
you lucked out and got
Nice.
the complete series.
Yeah.
Nice.
It just sucks
Yeah.
because that it was supposed to get another series, but it got canceled because of something. I don't remember what it was. I watched that documentary. I don't even remember retaining the information of what
Yeah.
killed the show. I think it was because of the budget was too big, and then
Mhm.
I think USA was working on some other show that they
TNT.
TNT put all the money into that instead of Mortal Kombat Conquest.
Well, it was intended to help booster the ratings with WCW, but then in turn, if the Mortal Kombat based wrestlers that they introduced were to skyrocket in popularity, they were supposed to in turn boost the ratings for Conquest. It was some weird mutual thing, which is why they came up with wrestlers with themes that were based off Mortal Kombat stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, like Glacier.
Yes, obvious Sub-Zero ripoff.
Yeah.
And Mortis, Wrath are
Mortis,
like
yep.
Shao Kahn and all those guys. It was supposed to be this huge thing. In fact, I met the real wrestler who was Wrath, who was Atom Bomb in WWE. He actually lives here. And we talked about that. I said, why was it that all of a sudden they were trying to introduce this roster of wrestlers who were heavily inspired by Mortal Kombat? And he said, well, had something to do with the contract where TNT, which was owned by Ted Turner at the time, was going to help catapult this Mortal Kombat show, but in return, they were supposed to use that to boost the ratings of WCW, which was losing to WWE at the time. So it was like this whole big cluster of you help me, I help you, but then somewhere in between something just didn't work. So yeah, they killed that, and I wish they had brought it back because that ending, damn it all.
I know. It's bad. I mean, but no, speaking of, like, so I know Zombie mentioned this, but did you guys get to write a list of things that you potentially wanted for Santa or to get you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because my grandma, again, the whole religious thing, she didn't want me believing in a Santa, so she told me the truth when I was like 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom had told, because I don't remember that happening, but my mom said that I had called her long distance from my grandma's house, crying, saying, "Is what she said true?" And my mom was like, "Oh gosh, we wanted to give him a couple more years." So yeah, from a very young age, I knew the deal. So I think it was probably about the time we got our first computer, my old HP that's now back home with me. I used to type up what I wanted, and I would put pictures on there for my mom to make it super easy. And I would do the same for me and my sister. My sister would tell me what she'd want, and we'd get on America Online, and I'd find it and save the little, images, and then print them out and hand them over.
I think we were 11 or 12 when we found out. But
that seems to be a somewhat common age, like 10, 11, from what other people have said.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. Found out.
Oh yeah, okay. I know that's why we're keeping it vague. Yeah,
I don't know what y'all are talking about. I'm
I
gonna
still
throw
see
that
it.
out there.
Yeah. But yeah, we don't know who's listening to this, so I might need to go. Hey, yeah, skip this part. Something's going to be talked about, and then you can move ahead.
Because keep in mind,
Uh,
I never
Time thing
said it.
here.
I just said I found out.
Found out. Yeah.
Let you fill in the blank.
Yeah. Let you
Found out from somewhere. Something.
that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. That's what you found out.
So it's the
Yep.
thing, in my opinion. And anyway,
Yes.
Yes.
That's a
Um,
good point.
yeah, because like I remember writing the top 10, the list of things that possibly you want for Christmas. And usually it was like small things up to like when I got to like, or my number one would be like one big item that I really wanted, like the freaking USS Flag or the Defiant.
Oh, hell no.
And I never got that.
oh,
I did I did get the mobile command center, which was awesome.
Mm-mm.
That was the one of the many coolest things I've ever gotten out of Christmas. Um, but I just remember like most of the time it was like I'd get 5 items off that list that like that I would want.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like for my grandmother, it wasn't until later that I would ask because like usually for my birthdays I'd ask for games. And then like my dad, I'd ask for a game, but then I would want like toys. And
Yeah, your
even to like
birthdays are crazy.
yeah, because like even my grandmother, what I'd always get ask her to get me some kind of figure. Like I remember getting Optimus Primal and Megatron from Beast Wars, both of them for 1 year from her.
Nice.
And it wasn't until like later there was like she would give me gift cards and everything, and like I'd be able to go get a game. And eventually it was like, we'd get $100 for Christmas, me and my sister, and then it became like it was like $50, and then 35. Then it was fine because I can always use that to go and buy a game or a movie
Yeah.
or something. So I never complained. My grandparents were awesome. I miss them dearly, but they would go out of the way to make sure that we had a good time, and they would always spend time with us and take us out. And so I totally miss them.
Yeah.
And
same.
it's been hard the last couple of years without them. But my dad's always kind of come through. I don't really ask for much anymore. He like I know a couple of years like before COVID, he would get me Transformers. Like he would find like one of the big ones, and that's what my gift would be. I wouldn't get anything else. It would just be like, hey, here's Trypticon. Here's what was it? He found me the Masterpiece Optimus Prime, the MP10 version with the trailer. The one that was released at Toys R Us. Back when that stuff was inexpensive. It wasn't like maybe it was about $100. Now you're looking at $200 for some of these giant figures and stuff. So it's like impossible to try to. I'm not gonna have my dad do that.
Yeah.
I
But
have the
at least
disposable income now.
it's nice though that you have that person in your life that knows how to look for that though.
Correct. Yes.
That that knows
Yeah.
the moving parts of being a collector,
Hmm.
you know. So that I credit that to him because for me I didn't start to get too specific until I was getting older and my interests started to change slightly from video games and toys. Um, when I was going through, I wanted to expand my Ocarina collection because I wanted to own Zelda replicas. I wanted to own like actual professional instruments. My mom had this habit of asking me, "Well, what do you want?" And I would say, "Don't worry about it because I
Yeah.
guarantee you won't find what I'm looking
Hmm.
for. I just know you won't."
Hmm.
Then I tell her and she'd be like, "Why do you want that?" You asked me, like, this is what
Yeah.
I want. So she'd be like, "Okay, well, can you send me links to where I can find it?" And I said, "Sure." I would send her an email, 3 different links. Okay, here's what I'm aiming for. If not that, this will do. Or this. Same exact thing. And I would still hear from her. Why do you want this? And where do I look? I sent you an email with 4 different links. You just have to click on the one you're going to buy. Why is that so hard? And then it would get to the point where I'm just like, you know what? Just give me a gift card.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
give me a gift card. I will take the hard work out of it for you. But then, for whatever reason, and I don't know if this is how it is with you guys, but gift cards are taboo for some reason. And it's like, well, I don't want to get you a gift card. Well, you don't want to get me what I'm asking for either. So how do I win in
Right.
this situation?
Yeah.
So
A lot of it has to do with the fact that like it feels impersonal. Like there's
Mm.
nothing you know,
I'm
they
fine with that though.
I know. Yeah.
No,
Uh
my mom is that way. She doesn't like the gift cards, whereas my dad is like, oh hell yeah. So he'll do the gift card because it's easy. With her, she's like, no, just tell me what you want. So of course, as I've gotten older, the gifts have gotten more of my age, and I said, you know what? Get me a salt and pepper shaker because I just broke my grinder, my pepper grinder. I also need some salt and pepper shakers for my regular stuff, but buy me a new grinder. You know, they're like $8. And her eyes like lit up. She's like, oh yeah. I was like, you know what? And I want some wooden some cooking tools. You know, I want to get away from the plastic. So if you find some like a wooden spatula or something, big wooden spoons, things like that, that's what I want. So that's how I divvy it up between my parents now.
I can
Dad, you can get the gift card. Mom, I'll just give me some salt shakers.
I can imagine your mom. It's like my boy is a normal boy now. He doesn't want of these video games.
Well, I mean, 'cause, yeah, like, now it's with stuff being either digital or I'm just, buying it myself. She did ask me a couple of years ago. She's like, I know it sounds stupid, but is there something I can get you that you would have gotten back in the day? And I said, okay, fine. Give me a wrestling figure. How about that? And she's like, oh, yeah. They got him at Walmart, right? And I said, yeah, look, the guy's name's Kenny Omega. Just,
nice.
I sent you a picture. Give me Kenny Omega wrestling figure. And she came back. She sent me a picture, and he was the only one they didn't have. And I said, yeah, that
Aw.
tracks. That's Don't worry about it. Uh, just give me some socks.
Look, what you need to do is call Vince. He'll find it for me. He'll give it to you. Like like your plastic crack dealer. No.
Right.
Plastic crack dealer.
So yeah, that was a fun one when she busted that out.
Yeah. No, that's cool because like for Anna's parents, like she just gets us a gift card. Like I'll get an Amazon gift card. I'm like, hell
Hmm.
yeah, let's go. And I got like
Yeah.
stuff, and then I've told Anna, it's like she goes, it's so hard to buy for you sometimes because you just buy everything. And I was like, I do. I have disposable income. We pay our bills. So I can go buy what I want, but I usually keep a list of things in my Amazon, like the not in cart that
Yeah.
she can just look at. And all right, just choose
The
something from
wish
there.
list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 because it's like
Uh-oh.
she lets me pick it now.
No, that's
Like,
too
Uh,
tech savvy for my family. I wish they could use that.
Yeah, send them your wish list.
yeah, because I mean, there's so much out there, and yeah, I do buy whatever I want, but it's like I don't know. I mean, there's things out there like arts and crafts, cool stuff that relates to things I like. That could be done, you
mhm.
know, or do I guess. So let me get into the whole thing with. Oh, you have, and I have. My wife's awesome. She's sitting here like trying to defend herself, and she does a good job. Um, but Jason, for you, man, what is it like for you? And I do have another question.
Uh, I mean, it was like, doing the list up to, I don't know, 13, 14 years old. And then it's just like, get me whatever. I ended up becoming like, I'm just going to get it myself and I'm starting to make money on my own.
Yeah.
That's how I got the Super Nintendo for myself. And I will not ever part with that system. Anyway, went off on a tangent. Sorry, that's my all-time favorite system. Yeah. But no, like with my family, I just tell them like I never know what I want from them because they never will be able to find certain things that I can find by looking and digging and things like that.
Hmm.
My collection shifted when I was around 14, 15 years old because I got an anime. So that is my number one passion. I will buy an anime versus a game every day of the week. Even though I still buy video games, and half my family don't even understand that kind of stuff. So it's
No.
more about like, just if you give me money, cool. I usually get socks, and I get $60 or $100. I'll just put it towards what I want to buy. Chocolate. Oh, hey, I love chocolate too, so I'll have that. Um, Ever since then, it's like the only person I will ask anything from a family member in that regards is my brother, because we share similar interests and he knows where to find things too. He's
Yeah.
very tech savvy like I am. Um, but when it comes to like my mom or something, she loves to do the little stuff. So she'll give me this like icy square chocolates that you throw in the freezer, and then she'll throw in a little bit of money into the socks, and it's a nice, cool gesture. Excuse me.
Hmm.
And since been dating my girlfriend for about, I don't know, 6 7 years, we do it after Christmas, after all the crap and all that. So we just built up a nice care package for each other, and it's like, oh, this is what you want. Okay, cool. We'll just do it this way. But she has very similar interests as I have too. But yeah, I'm a very simplistic guy when it comes to gifts these days. I don't care. I don't need to get anything from you. Just hanging out is a cool idea, and having a great meal at the same time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm all about, because I can get this stuff on my own at any time, um, when I have the money for it, of course. So
Yeah, that's kind of me too. It's like it's cool getting stuff, but it's like I'd rather give, I'd rather be like,
Yeah, for sure.
um, hey, I got this or I picked this up. Like, I'm gonna be giving Andrew I got him the thing game. I got when I see him, he gets that. I got,
nice.
you know.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's like I do that for my friends all the time. Like I don't expect anything. I don't ask
No.
for anything because it's like I can buy it on my own. But like I hang out with these guys all the time, and it's like I don't mind sending stuff out or take them to a movie. Just who I
Yeah.
am.
Simple as that. If you want to do something special, hey, let's go catch a flick. We'll just
Hmm.
have a good time, have a good drink, or go have lunch or something and chat up. And I'm simplistic like that when it comes to
Mhm.
that. Again, I can get the stuff on my own. So yeah.
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 Do you think that comes with as we get older, or do you think that comes with, okay, now I have my own disposable income? Because the way that I look at it, it's two different things. Um, when I was little and I would have my Santa list, I always found it amazing that Santa could find what I was asking for without any problems. But if I asked my mom, she wouldn't even know where to look. So,
Mm-hmm.
as I get older, and you would think that as a kid, the stuff that we asked for was more complicated. You would hear stories about like when Ocarina of Time released, how that was one of the hardest games to get around the Christmas season because everybody was asking for it.
Hmm.
Um, or any title for that matter. So I've heard stories like that even. But then when I look back on, okay, so how did you not only manage to get this, but you also managed to get this during the holiday? Did you buy that in advance knowing that that's exactly what I was going to ask for? Or, you know, was it just really that simple to find? And it was the more, I guess, different things that I started asking for as I got older that became a problem. But at the same time, I started, adjusting my mindset as well and going, well, I don't really need anything, but I mean, this is what I would like. Because I think I always reflect on that year when I was asking for ocarinas, instead of asking for like a video game. And I think that's kind of what my mom was anticipating I was going to do, was I was going to ask for whatever the hottest game was at that time.
Hmm.
Um, but no, I can pinpoint exactly when my shift in in interest changed, and that was right around the PS2 era. I just stopped asking for a majority of games, and I was like, no, I kind of want more refined items, something different.
Mhm.
But at that time too, I was already in a place where I could work. I could just buy it myself. And, I just wondered if it was just a coming of age thing or if it really was what we were asking for that made it either easy or difficult. I don't know. I'm just the psychology behind that is kind of what I'm interested in.
Well, I have a thought about that because the first game I bought on my own would have been Super Mario Brothers 3, but I was like, I don't know, 8 to 10 years old or something to that effect. And it's because I bought it. I had a paper route, I was making the money, and that was the very first thing I bought. But I wasn't like in my 20s or anything. I was still a kid. So they're like, well, you can use that money and buy 3 games at once. And I'm like, no, but this is the game I wanted. I bought it. So it's kind
Yeah.
of a catch. I don't know. I'd say it would be because you had the money yourself, at least in my position at the time, that I was able to buy that game for myself and I didn't have to rely on anybody else trying to find that game during that time frame. So maybe it's the money aspect, but maybe for some other people, it's just they grew out of that and that whatever they were interested in and shifted their interests because that happened later on in my life too when I shifted more towards anime versus video games. So
Mhm.
I don't know. It's kind of a weird question. It's not a weird question, but it's a great question, and it's just a weird scenario because it kind of happened both times in different
Yeah.
times of my life. So I don't
Yeah.
know what to say to that beyond that.
It's I guess it depends on the situation, right? So, we don't know what everybody's financial situations were, especially their parents at the time.
Mhm.
True.
It may not be whether if they could find it, it's a matter of maybe they just couldn't afford it, depending on like if you have multiple kids you're buying for and things like that.
Mhm.
Then also for us changing our perspective as far as like what we asked for versus like what we were asking for as kids is maybe because we did have disposable income at the time, to be able to go buy what we want. But then also you think about like how there became an overabundance of stuff. Like say things weren't as limited as they were like with the Nintendo at the time. By the time we were at the PlayStation 2 release, like there wasn't a hard time. It was a hard time finding the system, but like as far as games for it, I could find every game. I mean, most of us could. And then plus
Yeah.
on top of that, we had
You
rental
had a
stores.
PS2 game before you had your PS2
Yes, yes, I did.
because you brought it to school.
Yes.
And it was funny because you think about that now and that's kind of like, huh? But let me tell you something. The hype around the PS2, and if you don't mind, I'm going to segue into
Go for
my
it.
my Christmas win story
Go for it.
off of this, but yeah, I remember seeing. I don't even remember what game it was. What game was it, Vince? Was it time? Was it not Time Crisis?
Second,
Silent Scope.
no, the first two games I got
It
were
was Tekken Tag
Tekken Tag and Street Fighter
because you
EX.
you brought one of them to school,
Yeah, it
and
was
that's
Tekken
we were
Tag.
like we're like looking at just the game, and it's like he has a PS2 game. You got to realize too, Vince was also the one that had the magazine he brought to school that
Mm.
showed the first mock-ups of the PS2. And I remember thinking at the time it was fake because they showed it laying down with the little PS logo, and then they showed it standing up, and now all of a sudden magically the PS logo is changed. It's now, it's the right orientation. And I was like, man, no way that's the system. And it turned out being the system, and it was like the hype around that. I don't think I've ever seen that again. I mean, I know not for me because like we age, but the closest I could think of it maybe was the Wii because there was a new Walmart that had opened around here, and I know a couple of friends of mine went and stood outside to get the Wii when it had
Mhm.
come out. But you never saw that again. I feel like for a console.
I think the only
Um,
console after the PlayStation 2 that had that kind of hype outside of the PS3, because it did have a big
and
hype
I don't
for it,
count anything during COVID because
I
everything
would
was fucked up.
Right.
I would say the Switch won. The
Switch.
the Switch is the first Switch is the one that had the most hype out of
Yeah.
out of the PS2.
But yeah, like the magazines around the PS2, we're sitting there thinking like, dude, this is going to be the greatest system of all time.
Mhm.
Microsoft wasn't in the arena yet. We didn't know what the hell Nintendo was going to do. Um, And the few people that had a Dreamcast, we loved it, but it's like at the end of the day, I still had friends that had, Dreamcast and PlayStation 1, and they would still go back and stay and play PS1 games. Because the library was so huge and you had a trickle when it came to Dreamcast. However, the Dreamcast did have a couple of games that to me, with my interests, I was like, dude, it's almost hard to pass on a Dreamcast because they have these games. Code Veronica being one of
Mhm.
them. The other one, Power Stone, and then the big one, Shenmue.
Shenmue.
And
Yep.
I'm like,
Oh yeah, Shenmue.
I'm like Shenmue to me was just like incredible. And plus, there was a magazine that had come out that had released talking about how they were going to do episodic content for it, and I'm like, this is amazing.
For
You're going to
10
download them.
years.
For 10 years, you're going to download the new episodes using the Dreamcast modem, and save them somewhere. Who knows, maybe on the VMU, but however it was going to work. But yeah, it was amazing. And I'm just like, dude, like, I mean, PS2 is PS2, but it's like we have the Dreamcast right here, and it's going to have all these games. And the little bit that I've been able to play Shenmue at a friend's house, like, this is the most amazing game ever. And I had never felt like that. I felt like that 3 times in my life. Um, A Link to the Past, where game is like greater than the sum of its parts. This is like a watershed moment in gaming. But yeah, A Link to the Past was the first time I ever felt like I was playing something special. Then Metal Gear Solid, and then Shenmue. So I was like super hyped for it. But as we all know, with the PS2, the launch was a disaster here in the US. So originally they were going to do 1 million units for the US launch. It got cut in half to 500,000. And what was so funny is, we're kids, right? But I remember watching CNBC or whatever it was at the time, the money markets thing, trying to find out news about the PlayStation 2. Because
Yeah.
what was the release date? October something 2020?
Mhm.
Is
Uh,
October 2000 is when it came out. And now my birthday was already passed. This was going to be a Christmas gift, but I remember seeing on freaking CNBC or whatever that the first announcement that they were cutting the 1 million units in half to 500,000. And I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm getting a PS2 now. Like,
Mhm.
it's ridiculous. And I remember going to school, telling all the homies about it. Like, dude, you're not going to believe this. It's going to be a Mexican Christmas for me, bro. Because one of my favorite things growing up in that household was that the more Mexican side, they give you lottery tickets, loteria.
Right.
And we would either play loteria and then you would win money, or they would just give you the lot of the scratch offs. And it was so funny because I'm had been doing that since I was like 5, with my little scratcher. And so I'm like, yeah, it just gave me scratch offs this Christmas. There's no way. So followed the news cycle. Then eventually, I think EGM, Vincent brought an EGM that pretty much confirmed it that the launch is only going to have half the units.
Mhm.
And I remember sitting there thinking, dude, Vince, you got freaking Tech and Tag with you.
and
How are you going to get
he's
one?
telling me, I'm like, Vince, you're not gonna get
You're
one.
not going to get
I
one.
tell him, you don't understand. It was kind of like that whole thing in freaking heavy metal. I have an angle.
Mhm.
I
So,
have an angle. I remember that
uh,
tune.
Yeah.
so the PS2 comes out 2 months after my birthday, 1 month after Vince's birthday. And sure enough, I think Vince, I think you came to school the day it came out, and you're
Yes.
like, yeah, my dad's gonna get it today. And I remember being skeptical, even up to the day. Like, no way, dude, no way. Your dad's not gonna get one, bro. And it's like, okay. And so we this is a throwback.
At lunch.
Did you leave school?
No. So
He
you
came and
guys
got
made
you?
me. No, no, no. So the thing was, is that you made me call my dad to make sure he got it because by the time we went to lunch, Game Crazy was open. So I went, put my quarters in, or the quarter in into the payphone, called my dad, and he goes, "Yep, we got it." And he goes, "But I'm looking at eBay, and this thing's going for like $1,000. I could literally sell it right now, and you'd have the money to buy 3 of them." I was
You'd
like,
have to
"No,
wait.
I'd have to
But
wait." I
yeah,
said, "No, Dad, no." So And I remember I told
Okay, well,
you,
hold on, because I do remember the payphone, but I also remember going home, and again, this is a throwback, talking to you on ICQ,
yeah,
and
Oh my
like
gosh.
you confirming it again on ICQ
yes,
that you had it.
yeah, I have it. Yeah, yeah,
So I guess maybe what that was your dad was teasing the eBay thing during the phone call, but by the time I got home, we were talking on ICQ, and you're like, "No, bro, I got it. Like, it's hooked up. I'm opening it right now."
yeah.
And then I went over there that weekend.
We had a PlayStation
Instead,
launch party.
essentially, we had a PlayStation launch party.
Yeah,
It was like
Nice.
a second birthday, really, because the first his actual birthday in September was almost like, I guess, put now I don't want to say put off, but you knew what was coming around the corner. Like his
hmm
dad was dead set on it. So that was always the real birthday party when that came out. I was like,
yeah.
holy shit, Vince got a PS2. And that was an amazing weekend. It was awesome. And I was like, man, as much as I love Dreamcast, this PS2 completely, not only did it meet my expectations for a next gen console, it absolutely obliterated them. So
Hmm.
by that time, I had already, I don't want to say conceded defeat, but I had acknowledged the fact that getting a PS2 is going to be tough. Yeah, going back to what Vince said, what, there's specific family members or people that you can rely on to find the things that you want. So I was like, nobody in our friend circle had a parent like Vince's dad that was going to be able to do that. Um, what I didn't realize was that my mom was a bloodhound for deals. That's where I underestimated her. So I asked for a Dreamcast that Christmas, and I said, "I want a Dreamcast. This is the game I want. It's called Shenmue. I'm gonna need a VMU. I'd like a second controller, please." So I give her the list, I print it out, give it to her. She goes, "Okay." And so this is already sometime in November, and I remember hearing on the news that another shipment of like 100,000 PS2s came to the US. And I didn't even think two things of it. I'm like, yeah, whatever, big deal. And one day I was cleaning the house. I think it was my parents were gone. I'm cleaning the whole house. And I go and I get to their closet because I'm going to go put up some of my dad's shoes in there. And I found a bunch of bags in the corner. And I'm like, I know what that is. And I probably shouldn't look, but I'm going to look. And I open it up, Dreamcast. She got me the Dreamcast. She got me the VMU. She got me four controllers,
Holy crap.
Shenmue
Wow.
and Power Stone. And I was like, man, she killed it. Now, granted, that was it. I wouldn't get anything else. That was my entire Christmas in that bag. So I was like, I was gonna have to act surprised. But I was like, holy shit, she did it. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a cool Christmas, and I'm excited. Because usually, like on the times that I'd gotten a console for Christmas, like the Super Nintendo,
Hmm.
I think was the other one I got on Christmas. Um, they would go and rent a bunch of games as well. So like they would buy me one game to go with it, and then we would go rent games as well to kind of, add to it. So I said, okay, cool, man. I was all excited. I'm like, okay, great. Well, it was sometime in December. So I already know I got the Dreamcast, and I'm sitting in my room. It's a weekend playing PlayStation. And my mom, she was working for a new doctor. She's an executive assistant, and they gave her a cell phone. So that's like a big deal to have a cell phone at this time. And one day, it's just me and my dad at the house. He gets a call because my mom was out with her friend, and I hear them talking. My dad, who I have never seen run in my life, is running down the hallway of the house, reaches into my room to grab my door. He's like, "Leave the door shut." And he pulls the door shut, and then he keeps running. I'm like, what the hell was that? I hear him go down there, and I know he's in their bedroom, and I hear like a bag and like rustling, and I'm like, did my mom just ask him to check to see if I went through that? And I'm like going through my head, like, no, I set everything back the way I found it. They know I wasn't looking. But why would she call him to tell him that? Well, I hear him bringing the bag out of the bedroom, coming down the hallway, just with all the stuff in it. And I'm like, they're probably going to put it somewhere else. Maybe they realized I did look. I'm like, whatever. They can't prove it. So again, don't really think much of it. I'm like, I already saw it, but I'm still hyped up anyway. It's fine. And I was like, that's super weird. So then like I opened the door. I was like, hey, can I come out? I gotta pee. He's like, yes. So I go, hey, what was that about? And he goes, don't worry. So okay. Christmas time comes, ready to play that Dreamcast. I open it up and there's a blue box in there, PlayStation 2. I said,
Wow.
what the fuck? Of course, I didn't say that, but I was genuinely shocked. I knew this was supposed to be a Dreamcast. It's a PlayStation freaking 2. And I remember opening it up and I'm just like, almost like it didn't register what I was looking at. And I remember looking over at my mom. She goes, yep. Like looking at me like, she goes, I know, I know. I'm like, how the hell did you get, like, how did you get one? And this is the story. She's out with her friend, and her friend was like, "Hey, I want to run to Toys R Us because I want to get a couple of gifts, like for the kids." She's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll come too. I'll see if I can pick up something for Andrew and Taylor. That's my sister." So they go, and as my mom pulls up, they see a line outside of the Toys R Us, and she's like, "What's this?" So as her and her friend are walking up to the Toys R Us, they ask, "Hey, what's this line for?" They go, "Oh, they got like five PS2s, and you enter like a little raffle. If they pull your number, you have the opportunity to buy one." And my mom's like, "Oh, that's that system that Andrew was talking about." She go, "Oh, but I already got him one." And then that's when the lady, somebody in the line was like, "Yeah, this is the hard to get one. This is what everybody." She goes, "This is what everybody really wants." 'Cause it reminds me of the Lee Carvalho's putting challenge. This is the game that all the boys want,
All the
except this
kids
one
want.
was legit. This was legit. So what my mom did is she went ahead and she got a raffle ticket, went and stood in line, called my dad from the cell phone and said, "Hey, get that stuff and drive up to the Toys R Us to give it to me because she keeps all the receipts. I'm going to return it if I get chosen in the raffle and flip the money around and buy Andrew the PS2." So that's why he ran down the hallway to go grab the Dreamcast out of the closet, to drive up to Toys R Us to give it to her. And sure as shit, her number got called in the raffle. She returns
Nice.
it, flips the money around, gets me a PS2, memory card, extra controller, and SSX. Uh, awesome. I had goosebumps now going through that memory again, how she managed to pull it off. So that was my biggest Christmas win. That was my favorite memory. And I got cool stuff
Nice.
after that. Like once I figured out about like how to get 5.1 surround, I ended up getting a little stereo surround system in my room, which was cool. That was all PS2. And then kind of like what Jason was talking about, is your what you like kind of shift over time. So there was a brief period of time where I really wasn't into games. I wanted movies. I wanted DVDs because of the
Mm-hmm.
PS2.
The
So
PS2.
several times I'd be with Vince and his dad, and we're going to Suncoast, and any little extra money I had was going to movies. So there's probably like a good year and a half, like almost no games. It was nothing but like, what badass thing can I find at Suncoast?
And you would just borrow
Uh,
whatever I got because we played the same stuff.
exactly. And
So
my best Suncoast find, which also like unfortunately is a story Vince knows all too well, was stolen from me, and that was a special edition double disc of Hard Boiled that I could not find anywhere else. Um, that one hurt. But I also got a bunch of horror movies from there that I still have to this day that I haven't seen anywhere else. But yeah, that was. I don't think I'm ever going to have a Christmas win bigger than that. There's obviously some really good ones. I had a PlayStation Christmas that was really good, but that's actually another one that's going to go in the fail category that we'll get to later. But my SNES Christmas was amazing. Uh, they had put the presents under the tree in November because my dad had gotten laid off, but he got a severance package. And so he's like, let's just buy all the gifts now. So for 2 months, I had to stare at a Christmas tree with like a
Jeez.
million presents underneath. And this was back still when my sister was little. So like a little $5 gift and she's happier than shit. I still got all the good stuff. So again, for 2 months, we had our Christmas tree, and I think, like, no lie, there must have been like 30 presents under there. It was probably one of the biggest Christmases because that was, well, my dad was thinking was like, look, it doesn't matter how bad things get, they have to have a good Christmas, no matter what. So let's use the severance package from the light company. He worked for Houston Lighting and Power here. He's like, let's use that for the kids, give them a big Christmas. And so I remember going and I think I was off for Thanksgiving or whatever. I'm at the house and I used a butter knife to peel open the back of the biggest gift. And that's when I saw it was a Super Nintendo. And I remember sitting there like, this is awesome, but at the same time,
How am I going to take this up?
2 months, I'm gonna have to stare at this box, knowing what magical item is inside of it that I can't touch yet. And I remember going back playing NES and my favorite game at the time, Super Mario Brothers 3, and it just like, I don't want to play this, bro. I want to go play Super Nintendo and I want to play because this was like I think a year after the Super Nintendo had come out. So Super Nintendo was what, 91 when it launched?
Yeah.
So this had to have been like 92 or May. Yeah, it had to have been 92. And this was the edition that came with Super Mario All-Stars. So it had a pack in.
Oh,
Good to
Yeah.
go.
nice.
That's all you need. And I'm like dying. I was like, I should not have done that. Because I would go anytime I'm in the living room, uh, I would just go and look. And it was like it was talking to me. And it's like, it's
Aw.
almost time, Andrew. How much longer can you wait? And I was sitting there thinking, I wonder if I could open it, plug it up, and then somehow slide it back. No, no, no. No, don't think that way.
Don't do that.
Don't do it.
You take it out of the box, but then put the box there, and you're like, "Mom, but there's nothing, no console in here." And you take it back and then get another one. I
The
mean, I'm
best
like,
part was like years later being an adult and telling my mom, I was like, I have a confession to you guys, and her and my dad. It's like, you know how many gifts I opened as a kid to peek inside? She goes, yeah, we know. You did a horrible job putting it back together. I thought I did a good job. I thought I did a great job putting it back together.
Parents know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's my biggest win.
That's great.
The PlayStation story.
I've got
All
my
right.
biggest win still in my collection. Um, and it's one of those things where you didn't for me personally, because again, going back to what I had said earlier, where I only asked for maybe one or two things at most. So the rarity of getting all that I asked for was slim to non-existent. And I remember the earliest Christmas I remember, I got a Cabbage Patch doll for Christmas. I don't know why I asked for that. Um, and I still have him somewhere, but I think he's in storage. The second thing that I remember asking for, and we used to go to KB Toys to window shop because the nearest Toys R Us was miles from us. We'd have to take like multiple buses to get
Oh
to it,
man.
but I would still brave the trip just for being able to walk through those aisles, um, and just seeing all those towers of toys and the slips you had to pull to go pay for and then get it behind the bulletproof glass. Like I would love to relive those days again. But I remember specifically going to KB Toys, and this was early in the year, and my mom had asked, I know you want to go to KB, so let's go. What is it you think you're going to ask for Christmas this year? I said, Mom, you know what I'm going to ask for. I saw it at your work. The Game Boy.
Oh.
And she goes, "Well, what's the Game Boy? How's that different from the Nintendo?" And of course, being a know-it-all, I was like, "There are big differences, Mom." And I would go into the
How
whole
much time you
spiel.
got?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Nintendo on the go. That's the coolest thing. So we go to KB Toys, and my mom's asking the guy there, "Hey, do you guys have a Game Boy? I want to see what that item is." And my son's asking for it. And he looks at me and he looks at her with like a confused look and he's like, "Are you sure you want to get that for him?" And she goes, "That's what he wants. Why?" And I was sitting here like, "Dude, shut up. What are you doing, Don't try to scam my mom out of not getting it for me." And she goes, "Well, your son looks a little too young to play a Game Boy. I don't know if that's a good idea." And it's the
Make the
first time,
sale.
yeah, it's the first time ever I have seen a clerk not want to make the sale. So I'm sitting here like, what the fuck, dude? I mean, I'm not gonna say that, but that was the mentality. And he's giving her all these reasons, and she says, "Sir, my son could play any game you've got in this store and probably beat it. I think he can handle a Game Boy. He knows how to hook the system up by himself. He hooks up his uncles all the time. And what was even funnier was we eventually went to the NWC in Phoenix later on, but she was just going on and saying, I can guarantee you my son can handle it. Now, do you have a Game Boy so I can see what it looks like? And that was it. So she says, okay, well, what game would you want to go with it? And of course, you see the aisles, you see the rack behind the counter, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Ninja Turtles, Dr. Mario, Super Mario Land, and I'm just going through all the different titles. So I'm getting straight A's that year. I'm doing everything I can to be extra good to get that Game Boy. Christmas rolls around. I'm sleeping in the living room. I wake up. I not only see this bad boy right in front
Mm.
of the couch that I slept on, I wake up to Ninja Turtles and Dr. Mario.
Nice.
And I was like, I screamed. I woke up the whole house. Like, I was like, and I was covering my mouth with a pillow and everything. And as usual, I would sneak into the kitchen away from where the family was. And I'm sitting there and I'm playing. And, because I didn't want to wake anybody else up. They were already mad that I yelled. And oh man, did I live that up. And then eventually what happened was we went back to the same mall, same KB, and Mario Land had been on sale at that time. So we went there and my mom was like, let me do what I got to do. I'll take you to KB. You see something you like, we'll pick it up. So I saw Super Mario Land. I said that was the one game I also asked for, but I didn't get that Christmas, but I'm fine with that. So she buys it and I walked out with all three that I asked for and
Oh,
There we go.
to this
There
day
you
I'm
go.
like, KB Toys, man. KB Toys. But if I ever saw that damn clerk again, I would.
That's what I was gonna say.
that's so that's
My son's
wild
that.
to me. Like they were objectively trying to screw up a sale.
Yep.
Yeah, they were.
Your kid's too young. They ain't gonna understand. Get him a Lego.
Yeah. It, it,
So
it
that
was so shocking that he was willing to downgrade what we were asking for.
Oh,
And that was one of the few times that my mom actually defended me in a situation. She's like, no, my son has Nintendo games. He plays with his uncle. They've
wow.
beaten several games before. He can
Yeah.
play anything you have on that wall. I think he can handle a Game Boy. So I was like,
Oh man, well it's say no more
Yeah.
here.
all
Yeah.
right,
Take two Game Boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a
right?
link cable.
Here's here's a
jeez.
sale price. It's buy one get one free. My apologies.
Oh man,
Right?
that's wild.
So
I
that clerk
never
would
forgot
clearly
that.
that clerk clearly did not do wasn't on commission.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know I don't know if KB
Jeez.
was on commission, but I never forgot that. I never it baffles me that he would even try to talk my mom out of it,
Hmm.
you know?
Makes
That's
no
nuts.
sense.
Yeah.
And coming from retail, I've been doing this for what 17, 18 years. I never did that. That's wow. Unless there
Unless
was
it was
no
a
good.
rated M game.
Yeah, I've seen them
Yes,
do that at
that
Yeah,
some of
GameStop.
that.
different,
Like
but like
I've seen
wow.
them like, oh, you need to know what's in this game. Who are you buying it for? But I mean,
Yeah.
like flip the script now. At this age, you go in there to go buy something. It's like, I think you're too old for this. Like which I guess you probably could hear that from some people. No lie. Even when I'm at work, sometimes people ask, "What'd you do this weekend?" I will still hesitate to tell people I played games all weekend. I didn't do shit. I played games from my childhood. I played something new. So there's still a stigma attached to it, I guess. But yeah, Matt,
Yeah.
go into like, a game store now. I was like, yeah, let me get that PS5 Pro. That's too much machine for you, dog. no, you can't buy that. You can go buy this.
Do I need to pull out my creds? Right. So this is where that whole
Right?
thing is like, all right, so
Your money's no good here,
here's
sir. This is too much
here's
console for you.
here's the list of games I've beaten.
Here's my collection.
Yeah,
Yeah, here's my
yeah,
achievements list.
yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
I got a retro achievement list as
My
well that I
trophies.
handwrite.
Yeah, my
Right?
trophies.
Here's the map I drew as a kid for freaking Super Metroid.
Right.
Hey, here's my YouTube channel. Go watch me play these games.
Right?
Just pull it
I
up right there.
I got something for you. Pull up this YouTube video. That's me beating Battletoads.
Right.
Yeah, right.
No save state. I
Yeah.
got this.
I got
No
this.
Switch rewind. Uh-huh.
Oh, I just pull up this story that my grandpa plays video games till almost the day he died. Like, come on, man.
That's
They're
the
never too
goal.
old to play
Yeah.
games.
I want to be.
Although he called them little people. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, what were you going to say, Vince?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's. I want to be that too. I mean, I want to be like in a retirement home with my wife, and we're just playing video games until we until it's the end.
I
Yeah.
just say,
As long
little
as we
people,
get
I'm
to,
going to go
as
play
long
with
as we
the-
get to live that long, right? I just want to be
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, but anyway, what about you, Jason? What's your one Hail Mary all time grail Christmas item that you ever got or best Christmas story?
Okay, so this is going to be a weird one. It's going to start out as what I thought was going to be an epic fail that turned into an absolute win. So that year, there was this game called, well, Zombie mentioned it, Battletoads for the NES coming out that year. I wanted it. It was cool. It looked cool. It was like the new Ninja Turtle game, but you're toads. So that was the one thing I put on my list. A bunch of other Nintendo stuff and all that, but I wanted that game. So I got a bunch of Christmas comes. Kind of most of the stuff I wanted that year. I was happy. And then the bag of dog treats. That was the other fail that I mentioned earlier. Let me give it to the dog. All right. The dog was happy. Then I see this big box for myself. I'm like, what the heck is that? So I open it up. There's another box in there. So I'm like, what's going on? Open up that box. It's another box. And it just kept going and going. Like I said, my family loves to play tricks on us. So it kept going and going. I'm like, it gets getting smaller and smaller. I'm starting to wonder, is this what I think it is after a while? Finally get to that small box, the size of an NES cartridge, the box there. It's got to be what I think it is. Either that or it's a movie. It's got to be one of those two. Start opening it up. There it is. Battletoads. Right in there. In about 5 or 6, 7 boxes. I forget how many now. Box was like this, like big box. Bunch of different boxes in there. Oh my god! I'm looking at them. They're just smiling at me, like. But yeah, it turned out to be like I thought. It's going to be some stupid, maybe clothes or something, and they're just playing tricks on me. To oh my god, I got the one game I wanted to play, and I played it 10 minutes later. I said, I'm going into the kitchen to my TV and I'm playing. But thank you. But yeah, that was probably the biggest win I've ever had out of anything just because of the way they did it.
Yeah.
It turned out to be awesome in the end. I was still annoyed at it to this day. Just I want to do that to somebody because it was done to me.
It would have been hilarious if it was that like a paper with a scavenger hunt that you had to go in.
Oh,
Then it took you to an aquarium.
Some ideas.
It would have had an aquarium with everything that you would need to have like a pet toad, and it's just Battletoads sitting inside of it with a heat lamp.
I'm guilty of doing the Russian doll thing with presents. When I had about 3 roommates at one point, every year that we were living together, someone was bound to get what I would call the gag gift, and that's exactly what it was. Box after box after box. Sometimes I would even weigh them with like giant rocks just so they would think that they were getting something like big or heavy, and then they're like, what the hell is this? You know, and I'm like, no, 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 that
Oh
was just
man.
to keep you from sneaking around. Keep going. So yeah, I'm
They did that
guilty
with
of
my
doing that.
buddy when he got a car for Christmas the same year that I got my PS2. And it was funny because he called me. And he goes, "What'd you get?" I told him the whole story about the PS2. He goes, "Oh man, you're so lucky. I got a car."
I
And
got a
it was my buddy
car.
Brandon, and he
Yeah,
drove he
Brandon.
drove over to my house, uh, and we played SSX that day. And I'm like, "You got a car, bro?" He goes, "You got a PS2. It's gonna be worth more than my car," because they got him like a little Honda CRX. It was used, but I mean, it was a cool little car. And yeah, they did the same thing to him. It was so funny. They put his keys in a big old box, and he kept going through. And what was funny was that he actually could not find the key. He lost it. And what they did was that his brother, who is a couple of years older than us, when everybody woke up, snuck out the back, went down the street because they had parked it at a neighbor's house, got in it with the other set of keys and drove it up to the house, then got out and came back in. So the actual keys were in the boxes. He's going through them, and it was crazy. Even like to this day or whatever, I haven't talked to him in forever. They never found it. He had lost the keys opening up the boxes. Yeah, I remember him
Oh,
telling me his dad had got in there and his mom, and they were like, they even an argument had broke out, and his mom's like, "Are you sure you put it in there?" And he's like, "Yes, you saw me put the damn key in there." And that's when my buddy was like, "What do you mean key?" And we got you a car. It's like his brother's name's Nick. He goes, "Nicholas, give him the other set." And they had to give him the spare key
Jeez.
because he could not find it in that
oh,
box. I thought it was hilarious. He's like, "What?" And what was even funnier was that it was standard transmission. They had no idea how to drive. And he's like, "I'm gonna drive to your house. Come wait down at the end of the street." So where we all kind of grew up, Vince too, it was he came down Parkland. You remember Parkland?
Yeah, yeah.
So I rode my bike all the way from the end of my street onto Parkland, which was sort of like this main road that went through our neighborhood. And I look down, and here's this little red Honda CRX
Yep.
slowly but surely coming down as he keeps killing the engine. Okay, he's like, "Well, I'll get it eventually." And it was the funniest thing. We're coming back to my house, and he's like not wanting he could get it to second, and he would kind of leave it there, but you could hear the engine starting to rev kind of high. But he didn't want to put it into third because that's when he would screw up. So you have me on my bike, him in the car going the exact same pace. He's like, "So tell me what it was like when you opened the PlayStation 2."
Just keep pressing that CD button
Oh
there.
man.
Once the power.
Yeah, dude.
So good, it's good times.
So
Honestly,
power
I
of
wish I
YouTube.
could. We still did that with my family. Even though I get annoyed, but I do miss those little tricks that we
the
did
little
do with
trick.
each other.
I
So,
never really had gag gifts like that as far as our gab set at present wrapping. Um, I mean, the closest we ever got was like, oh, hey, I got two games in a box that was for a shirt, a clothing box.
mm,
Yeah.
But no, but for one of I have two, and they're not video game related. Honestly, because like when we got the NES, my uncle got that for my sister, and he got me something else. I don't even remember what it was because I was too enamored with the NES, and it became mine. And my sister always would remind me, that Nintendo was mine, and I gave it to you, so you owe me. But no, I remember one Christmas. It was a really cool Christmas, but I was sick. I almost had like the
Oh,
flu.
I have had
And
that.
I remember
Mm.
trying to go to sleep and I couldn't. And my dad came in to check on me and he's like, "Oh, look, I'm going to draw some water to cool you down. You just soak in the water and just, if you need to pass out." Because the water wasn't high enough that I would drown or anything like that. So I remember just sitting in a tub and just passing out. And the next thing I know, he's coming to wake me up and I ask him, "Did Santa come?" And he goes, "Yeah, he came when you were passed out." And
That's
so,
a crazy sentence.
right, right, right. Yeah.
Don't Santa came while you were passed out in your fever dream, son.
Right, right, like Bill Cosby right now. Uh uh
wow, this got
there you
really
go.
very interesting.
There you go. There you go, Billy. Um But no, we I remember getting out and going in there, and I think I started feeling better at that point. I think it was that Christmas. I'm trying to remember because there might have been something else. But I remember the year I'm talking about, we got a I remember getting like the complete line of Spider-Man figures from the animated series. I didn't get the vehicles or the play sets. I just got the whole wave of the figures. And my dad had put them all, he had unboxed them, put them all in a box and stuff. And I remember opening it up and it was like all of them. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. And you gotta remember, this is like probably what, 91 or so, or 92. I have to think about when that figures came out. But it was so cool because it's like I never expected that I would get like because as a kid, you don't think that you're gonna get like the entire wave of figures from a line,
Hmm.
especially
Maybe
like
one or two.
really cool figures like that because
I
those
remember
figures were
this
great.
story. Yeah.
And we ended up getting sweatshirts, and I had one that had Boba Fett on it. It was awesome, and I had that up until I think I got with my wife before we were married back in 2005, but it was so small. It was like it was a large like, or a medium because I was man, I think I was only like between junior high to high school, I think I was only like 175. I mean, I was pretty bulky, but I was thin. So, but like as I got older, I was like I could never wear this thing and I ended up getting rid of it because I knew I was never going to get back into that shirt ever or that sweatshirt. But the other one was I think 93 whenever the Generation 2 figures started coming out. My dad got me G2 Megatron, G2 Optimus Prime, the new Seekers, but they weren't like the Seekers, but they were the new Decepticon jets. They all had different designs. And I've only recently been able to pick up one of those figures from the line. I would like to get their other ones again because I played with them until they broke. I still have Megatron and Prime all together complete, but those figures I didn't have. I think I got Bumblebee, Sea Spray, and one other figure. So it was like a Transformer Christmas, and it was awesome because it's like I hadn't had Transformers in forever until G2 stuff started coming out,
Right.
and it was such a cool thing because I was like, I think I was playing games that night and fell asleep, woke up, came downstairs, and then like because we were living at the house on Strawberry, the same place that was close to where Andrew lived, and
Mhm.
I just remember like seeing the boxes, just like opening them up, and like, oh my gosh, because and it was they had the soundproof things. It was the Power Laser Prime or whatever, where he had the sound box. Like I am Optimus
Yes.
Prime, and this is I am Megatron, and then he would have the shooting explosion or the when you would start transforming him, you hit the button and he would do a transformation sound.
Yeah.
Um, but it was a really cool Christmas. That's one of the ones that, like I remember not expecting because I don't remember I asked for much. I think I asked for a game and it's something else, and then like my dad surprised me with those, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Mhm.
Because I mean,
I
we
rem-
had Transformers since like what I think 89 or well the Power Master, not Power Master, it was the Action Master Transformers that didn't have the ability to transform. They were just like GI Joes, but they were molded different.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember that G2 line was very big when it came out. I remember I even wanted that Optimus with
Hmm.
the voice box or whatever you call that.
Hmm.
Um and Optimus isn't even my favorite Transformer. So even I wanted that thing. I would see it
Yeah.
at Kmart, and I'm surprised I didn't ask for it for Christmas that year, but G2 almost felt like G1 for my age
Yes.
because unless you had the G1 line, which I only had a few, my uncle
Hmm.
mostly had them, we weren't seeing those anymore. So even though they're like Transformers Generation 2, but it's the Gen 1 cartoon,
Soon,
so
yeah, with the CGI transforming cube.
the
Mhm.
my
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
magic
yeah.
of the cybernetic space cube, like yeah, that was all hype for us, but I'm like I asked my uncle, I said, Andy, isn't this the same cartoon we watched? And he's like, yeah, it's the same damn show.
Hmm.
But they were hyping it up like it was something brand new. And we still watched it, but I remember just that toy line being a real big craze. I mean, sometimes I was hearing people talk about that more than Ninja Turtles, which were still
Yeah.
big. And even I was shifting out of Turtles going, damn, I might go back to Transformers now because G2 is fucking awesome.
Yeah, because they had some really cool new figures that weren't just reissues, redecoed.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things is like I remember seeing the trailer for that when my grandmother took us to go see Three Ninjas, me and my
Hmm.
sister. And there was the trailer for the announcement of G2 Transformers, and it was a complete CGI Optimus Prime and Starscream fighting it out. And my mind was blown. That was the best part of that movie to me, was
Yeah.
just seeing that commercial. And I remember like just blown away by that. And like the movie was like, okay, this is fun, whatever. But I was more excited for that. And I told my dad about it. I was like, okay, we're
Yeah.
gonna go see another movie, but sneak in to go see that trailer because you couldn't find any of this stuff online because it didn't exist back then.
Mhm.
So we had to go sneak into the movie just to see the trailer and then leave.
I mean, that was the only reason anybody saw that god awful Wing Commander movie was because they were airing the episode 1 trailer.
Hmm.
Oh, is that why I watched Wing Commander?
I
I
went to
watched.
see it because of
I
the
remember
game.
I took a girl to go see that. That was not a good movie. I wonder if that's maybe I had ulterior motives.
I went to go see that
Is that
because
why I went to go see it? I'm like, you're blowing my mind, zombie.
well,
Because I like if I go back and think about all the movies I've seen in the theater, there's always a through line to each one of them. It's something that I wanted to see that I liked. And the biggest outlier at that time was Wing Commander. Why did I see that movie? That must have been why.
Mm.
yeah,
Holy shit. Wow.
for
That's
me
the
it was
only reason I remember anybody mentioning they went to go
well,
see the Wing Commander
I wanted to
movie.
see Wing Commander because I played the games. Like, that was one of
Yeah.
the
You
things
don't
that's like
count.
Same here. Oh,
and I mean, come on, we had those great Wing Commander 3 and 4 with Mark Hamill and
hmm
Malcolm
Yes.
McDowell and Henry Reyes Davis. I mean, just come on, it
That
was like
those are different. We're talking about this
Biff.
movie.
I know, but yeah, yeah.
I'd rather watch. They probably would have done better by stitching together a CG movie from those
With
cutscenes
the
from the
clips.
game
Yeah, they could have.
and
They
just
could have.
Yeah.
release that. That would have been sick.
But
But I
yeah,
wanted to
Matthew
actually ask.
Lillard and
Yeah,
freaking
it's
Freddie Prinze Jr.
hell
That was
no.
god awful. And then
That was
Matthew
I
Lillard.
don't remember the time difference between the two of them, but there was another one now. I guess I can kind of add into that was and some people really like this movie. So if you do, um, I apologize because I freaking hated it. I gotta look. Oh my gosh, I have to look it
so
up now.
let me see if this is the one I think because like there was one movie that was coming out that was based off a Stephen King book that I really wanted to see, but it was the only way to see the Flight of the Osiris before we actually got the Matrix animated Animatrix series, and that was Dreamcatcher.
I liked Dreamcatcher.
I did too. So I mean, like, I was like, "Oh, you weren't going
Yeah.
to say Dreamcatcher? Because Dreamcatcher is good."
No, give me like 1 second.
Okay, but it was really cool to see that like 10-15 minute animated scene where they're trying to get information to Zion, and from the Sentinels and everything are coming at them.
Oh, I love that. Galaxy Quest was the other whack movie I saw for no reason. That one I don't remember why I saw. Wing Commander now, zombie, you think you hit the nail on
We,
the head. It was for the freaking episode one trailer. That's why I saw that. A Galaxy Quest, I don't remember why I saw it. I
I
didn't
think you
like it.
saw it because we went and saw it as a group.
Did you suck me in to go see this thing with you
Yeah, I think we
guys?
did. I think we did. I think we did because
Hey.
we usually that was what it was. We went and saw movies all together as all of our friends. It was like, all
But
right,
we saw some like legit classics. Why
oh,
did
we
we see
did, we did.
fucking Space Quest, Galaxy Quest?
I mean, come on, you got Sigourney Weaver and her
Well, hey,
cleavage.
I'm happy that I know now why I saw Wing Commander. Like I've always wondered, like it got brought up some other time. I was thinking to myself, like, why did I go to the movies to see that? I like, because I mean, I didn't my computer. I had a CD-ROM, computer, but I didn't have any of those games. I was still installing stuff by floppy. I never played any of the Wing Commander games. I was like, well, why did I go see that? And I add Galaxy Quest in that as well. But no, actually, what I wanted to ask everybody is, anybody have any Christmas Like, number one, when did your family allow you to open gifts? I find this to be different for a lot of people. So for us, it was always Christmas morning.
Yep.
For a couple of my friends, it was Christmas Eve at night they would
Mhm.
open. And then for like one friend in particular, poor guy, it was Christmas Day, but at night after dinner is when they got to open. And I remember in the morning, what my dad liked to do is he knows we want to open gifts, but we're not going to open them until we've had breakfast.
Yep.
So I would already be awake and I'd go sit in his recliner. I'm just kind of like, morning. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody hungry? It's like, yeah, okay. All right, we should get breakfast started here in a bit. And he'd got to take his time to make his coffee. Oh, I got to make some for your mother. Make mom's coffee. And
Torturing.
I'm just like, especially that Super Nintendo Christmas, that was like the worst because I know what's in there. And my mom gets up and she's like, hey, you used the last of the milk. We need to go get some milk. So I'm like, oh my God, forget the fucking milk, please. And so my dad's like, okay, well, I'll go get it. And of course, this was like one Christmas where it was actually like really cold here. He goes outside, comes back in, whew, it's cold. And my mom's like, oh, okay, are you letting the car warm up? He goes, I didn't even make it to the car. I'll get my big jacket on. I'm just like, everything is just taking 5 minutes. Walk down the hall is 5 minutes. To talk about coffee is 5 minutes. So he goes and he starts the car, he warms it up. That's another 20 minutes. Mom
Yep.
hasn't even started breakfast. And I'm just like, I am never going to play Super Nintendo at this point. That was pretty much what I was convinced of.
They knew.
So they knew.
They knew that you looked into it and
Because
found
this,
out.
to them, it's nothing. They like to watch us open the gifts and then, I'm off to my room, leave me alone. I have Super
Right.
Mario All-Stars to play. And we finally get to eating. Of course, this is already almost 2 hours has passed. It's like almost close to like 9:30 in the morning at this point. And I've finished my plate and I'm just sitting there in front of the tree. The guy was kind of looking at my dad and he's like, man, this bacon was really good. I want some more. He gets up and goes in there and I'm just like, oh, God. And finally, he finishes his bacon. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna eat this bacon and watch you open your gifts. I was like, I can open them? He goes, yeah, go ahead. So I immediately turned around and just freed the Super Nintendo from its paper prison. So yeah, that was our schedule was the mornings of Christmas after everyone has eaten,
Yeah. Mine's
and not a moment sooner.
He's sitting there like freaking Leia holding Han, like after she defrosts from the carbonite. It's someone who loves you, Super Nintendo.
I know.
The thing I'm telling you, and nobody believes me. So the Super Nintendo was speaking to me from the box. I could hear it. It was counting down the Christmas days. And as I'm sitting in front of the tree, watch my dad stuff his face with bacon, and I'm just like, you can get bacon anytime. You can, I hear him again. You only get one Super Nintendo on Christmas. You don't get it again after this.
Mhm.
And I'm dying. Of course, my sister, she's playing with like a little dollar store toy and she's happier and shit. And I'm just like, I have a Super Nintendo a foot away from me, and you're eating bacon. Are you kidding me?
The grease is getting into my console and making it die.
And Super Nintendo is just,
See?
he's like, it's underneath the tree. He's like, come on. Do you have a
That would've
space
been
cleared
the-
out for me? Am I ready to be put underneath the entertainment center? I'm just like, yes, just shut up.
That
My
would
dad
have
ate
been
his
the
bacon.
that would have been the indication they probably knew, like,
Oh,
oh, you're
yeah.
doing this
I
on
kept
purpose.
scooting like closer to the tree. I was like, yeah, okay, you done with the bacon, Dad? It's good bacon. Come on. God damn it.
Now, was your reaction real? Like the kid
Yeah,
who goes,
because
a Nintendo 64.
because like I had when I had opened up the flap, I remember I opened it, I kind of peeled it back and then I had opened it from the side, so I saw the side profile of the box. That was it. Well, I'm pretty sure all of us here, if you've ever gotten a game and you've been sitting in the car on the ride back, you have read that game box front and back a million times before you've gotten home. So
Yep.
I had decided that box memorized for what was there. So when I finally got to like rip it open, my parents were like, "Well, open it the whole way." And I'm like, "No, I want to read the back of the box." So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the back. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing of all time." I turn around the front, I'm just soaking it in. I mean, I'm absorbing the essence of the Super Nintendo. And then I open up the side, and this is what started it. So people still make fun of me to this day. I don't give a shit. I smell new electronics. I like it. If I open it up, I smell it if it's new electronics. It's just the way I am. This started it because when I opened that Super Nintendo, it had a smell to it that was amazing. And I remember pulling the styrofoam out because they packed them in styrofoam big time back then. Pull the styrofoam all the way out, and I'm just like, oh man. So like today, like when I was piecing my PC together and I opened up the graphics, the open up my graphics card, and we were taking it out of the box, and I'm like, oh, just
Yeah.
the way it is. So I did the same thing with the Super Nintendo. I pick it up, I'm pulling each piece out, and I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm just like, I hadn't opened anything else. This was what I call the Severance Christmas because this is the one that of course I found out about later. That's why they bought us so many gifts because they wanted to make sure, like, hey, well, we're going to use this Severance that your dad got, make it a really good Christmas. Um, but yeah, the obviously the star of the show was that. But I got another controller. I got a couple other games, which funny enough, I don't remember what else I got. Uh, I really don't remember what else I got for the Christmas. I mean, I know I was happy, but the Super Nintendo was clearly the star of the show. But yeah, that was a really good Christmas, despite my dad and his bacon.
We were allowed to open the gifts from Santa. I think that was kind of like an unspoken rule. Because Santa's gifts were never wrapped, and
You don't have
um
time.
yeah, he doesn't. He just puts it there and he's out. So me and my cousin and my uncle, growing up, we're all kind of relatively close in age. My uncle was probably about 13. My cousin was about probably 9 or so, and I was about 4 or 5. Um, and so anything that Santa left us, we snuck out of the living room. We'd go hang out in the kitchen or someplace where we wouldn't wake the adults. And it wouldn't be until my nana was the one that usually woke up first because she would be the one to get coffee going, tea
Did you
going,
get these? Did you
whatever.
get these?
And then we'd have to wait for everybody else to wake up.
Dang.
Mhm.
My mom, my aunts, everybody. Now I could see why they were never in a rush to wake up. They need their sleep. Whereas
Thank you.
kids were
Thank you
like,
so
no,
much.
wake up. We want to open gifts. Now I'm that way. My son tries to wake me up. I'm like, go away, let me get
I
extra
want my
hours.
sleep.
Yes. So I get it now. But yeah, we were allowed to open Santa gifts, but we had to wait for the whole house to be awake. If we nagged them enough, the longest we had to wait for something was for the adults to have their coffee at least. But I have been in that
Yeah.
situation where they're like, "Nope, we
I
all got
appreciate
to
it. Thank you
eat
so much.
first before you open something." And I'm like, "Son of a bitch."
Mhm.
Um, so luckily the gifts that we got from Santa, the things that we really wanted, were always the loudest anyway. Um, so it would wake everybody up in the house, and then finally we all
Oh
get
no.
together, open
I appreciate it. Come
gifts.
here. Thank you.
Um, and
Love you
again,
too.
just being like all excited about that one toy or that one video game. We were already into it. We didn't even care about the rest of the presents. So after a while, it just became like, okay, everybody's up. Let's just do this so that way we can go back to playing Killer Instinct. Uh,
Yeah.
With the soundtrack playing.
yep. Uh, so after a while, once we got into that zone of just all we really cared about is what Santa left us. We don't care what you guys bought us because it's gonna be crap we didn't want anyway. Socks, what have you. Um, so we've always done that. It's always been wait till everybody at least is awake, semi-conscious, and then we'll open gifts. But I did know friends who were lucky enough to get their stuff open Christmas Eve night, but then they had to go to midnight mass. So they're like, oh,
Mm,
that's the
yeah.
downside. You get to open what's there, but you got to leave it because you got to go to church. Um, and then I did have some friends that had to wait the whole like everybody has to come over, everybody has to bring all their
Oh,
gifts and all their
Mm.
food and all that. Um,
yeah. We had to do that one year. Our parents let us open everything except for our big gift. We had to take our big gift with us.
Oh,
And mine that year was the Game Boy as well. I got the Game Boy, the same Ninja Turtles game was it the Fall of the Foot Clan,
mhm.
and then a Game Boy carrying case. But yeah, that killed me sitting in the car, right? We drove all the way to Tennessee, and
Oh,
I didn't know what was in there, so it kind of made it a bit easier. But yeah, that's a if nobody really takes a bathroom break on a good drive, that's 12 hours from here, from where I live to where my family in Tennessee lived. Um, yeah, that's that we did that a few times. It wasn't great. Although the
that's
car ride back with my Game Boy kicked ass,
oh,
so
I'm
yeah.
sure. As long as it was day
silver
The
lining.
outside.
kickback.
And I
Yeah.
had I had Ninja Turtles game. So yeah, no, kind of made it worth it.
Did you have the Game Boy light or did you have to hold it under the street lights every few seconds? You know,
Yeah,
trying to get
so
that.
what the what they ended up doing was I think on the I don't remember where we were, but I had brought that up. And so at a little truck stop, kind of like a Love's or something like that, they got a, book light, like a little reader light. And here you can use this. And I'm like, what? How am I going to do this? You know, trying to come up with something. And so for a good portion of it, I just had it in my mouth. So I
Hmm.
had the little flashlight in my mouth, I had the Game Boy like this, and spittle coming out the side. But
Yeah,
shit, I made it work.
I'm drooling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
I
game
think
is
that was
so good.
the only accessory that I had the one that was the light and the magnifying glass, but that came kind of like towards the end of my Game Boy fandom because I think when I saw the Game Gear, I was like, holy hell, how what's taking Nintendo so long to come out with something like this?
It's
And the Game
backlit.
Gear had shit for games. But as a kid, having a full color screen game, being able to play like Sonic and the weird Streets of Rage game they had on there,
X-Men.
um, I don't think I had X-Men. I had a couple sports games. My library on the Game Boy that I had absolutely destroyed what I had on the Game Gear. But at the time, you put something sparkly in front of me and I liked it. I loved the full color screen,
Yeah.
uh, backlit. Like that was hard to beat. And then there was a kid at my summer camp that actually had the freaking TV tuner, but his Game Gear was broken. I was like, bro, match made in heaven. And we were sitting there. It's so stupid to think about it now, but we had a little TV tuner with the Game Gear plugged into the wall because it ate up batteries.
Yep.
And that's what we did. So, but yeah, the taking the big gift to somebody else's house was always a chore. But
It's
I feel for the people that no, you wait until Christmas night, and it's like,
and it
Mhm.
sucks too because you end up having to bring those gifts over and then you got cousins who want to play and you haven't even had a chance to play it yet.
especially if you're the older cousin, because then they're like they put the onus on you to make your younger cousins happy. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, what makes you think I'm gonna let any of these little heathens touch my Game Boy?
Yep.
It's like this one's covered in chocolate. This one is probably has shit on its fingers. Let's not even talk about the other one over here.
Yeah.
Runny
And you
nose
want
over there.
the running no always the, and then you want
Yeah.
to let the you, and
Good
of
night,
course I didn't think about it.
Cuddly.
I didn't think about it at the time, but a good argument would have been like, how much money did you spend on that, Mom, Dad?
Mm.
And you want to let
Mhm.
them touch it? Oh
Right?
yeah, it's a good point. All right, don't let Chris touch it. Just go you and don't let Steven touch it either. You're good.
So,
What about you, Jason?
um, so ours was always Christmas morning. We would, um, at least when I was a kid. Then it shifted to Christmas Eve nowadays. But as a kid, it was Christmas morning. It would have been after 6 o'clock in the morning because anytime earlier than that, no, 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 go back to bed. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, but it was before breakfast, so at least I didn't have to wait through the breakfast scenario. So I feel you there. If you did have, yeah, my God, I would have been like, I'm so what play that, but no, it would have been before breakfast. We got through it, and then my parents would just go back to bed after we open up.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so I didn't even have breakfast. I'm just playing my whatever my game. So then they wake up a couple hours later. Then we have breakfast and things like that. But when we get together with the family, sometimes it was Christmas Eve, so we get an extra gift from that scenario.
Mm.
Sometimes it was Christmas night, then we get another gift out of that way too. So it was like, which way are we going on this one? But it just depended on that route. But yeah, we were lucky in our family to get it done early in the morning. Then we can enjoy the rest of the morning with our gifts, and then we'll have breakfast about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, and then do whatever we're going to do for the day after that. Yeah. Mine wasn't that cruel of Christmas, I guess. Just the pranks. That's where they were good. That's where they got us with the trick gifts. And, well, even if it was a gift that you were getting, it's still a trick in its own right. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
I love my
Gonna
family.
Gonna make you work for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I definitely want to get into the fails now.
Well, here, let me get mine out, and then I'll
I thought you didn't do your win?
no, I'll let you guys go first, and I'll do mine in.
Oh, okay,
No,
yeah,
no,
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 go.
I did
My bad.
no, I did my win. This is the answer to Zombie's question about what
Which
when
ritual was?
yeah, what my ritual was. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so for me, because remember, like when my mom and dad were together, it was Christmas morning. And then we would spend the rest of the
I
Christmas
don't think
day.
I don't think I knew you at the time.
No, you did not. Yeah,
In fact, I know because your family, you had a lot of family near here, if I'm not mistaken. So I remember like a lot of like you were around for Thanksgiving. You're obviously around for your birthday, but I remember Christmas. I didn't really see you until it was all said and done.
Yeah, usually the day after is when I would hang out with everybody because we would go to my grandmother's and then my uncle's. So it was like we had like Christmas lunch and then Christmas dinner.
Mhm.
And my dad was always like, when we would do the extra Christmas Day stuff, it was like in the morning, like usually 7 o'clock in the morning is when we would all get up. Even my dad was like, had went to bed at a certain time doing, the things that we do as parents. Um, and then then he would make breakfast. We'd open up presents right at 7 and but we all had to be up. But whenever they got a divorce and we would be that week over at my mom's, it was like, we would do the Christmas Eve thing with her new husband and their family. And then when we would come home Christmas Eve night, Christmas morning, we'd wake up, do the presents, and then do the whole normal thing. But like my mom never really came to my grandparents whenever they had separated for a while. It wasn't until later that she started doing it. Then she stopped in general, but
Mhm.
it is what it is. But yeah, no, it was only with my mom that we would do the whole Christmas Eve thing. And it was sometimes good stuff, but it was hard like whenever we would go to like my stepdad's parents' house and stuff like that. And they would do like we'd get these at first it was we'd get these gifts that were like there was no thought process put into whatever they were giving us.
So
But then
here's your panties, Vince.
then it
Thanks.
then it was but the worst thing about it was we were there and then we would like they would
Here's
do
your
their
GoBots.
they would do all their Christmas stuff and you would
I like
see all
GoBot.
this
I
extravagance.
like GoBots
They would
too.
see well, I would have loved hey, I would have loved a GoBot. I would have loved anything. I mean, didn't feel like it was like, oh, I have to get this because these are the stepkids of
So
our
can I have Power
sons,
Rangers? No, you can have tattooed teenage alien
just
fighters from Beverly Hills.
Oh, talk about a downgrade.
right? No, but it was hard though because like me and my sister would sit there and watch them open up gifts and stuff, and there you see all this extravagant stuff, and it's like, oh, hey, here you go, and it wasn't any thought to any of it. Like I remember, like the coolest thing I ever got, and it was actually towards the end when we would stop hanging out with them, or as far as my mom for the Chris holidays, we actually got some really good, nice gifts, and I had a blanket, that poncho blanket. Remember, I had Andrew, that poncho blanket. The
Oh, and the smoke would sit on?
Yeah.
That's where you got that?
hmm
Oh, wow.
That was the only thing I ever got from them. That was I got a Lego set that same year, but like that blanket was the coolest thing I
Mm.
ever really kind of got, and I buried Smoke with that blanket because that's what he always slept on. Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. So and he's buried in the backyard next door at
Nice.
Anne's mom's, but and it's not like I'm not trying to sound like I was like this kid that was like, oh, why didn't I get this? Why me? But it just felt like when you have people that are a part of your family, you should include them and think about there should be a thought behind a
Oh,
gift.
you're right though. Like my parents did the same thing. So my cousin Steven is the main one that I saw the most often. He was the family that had the 64
Mhm.
that I got the controller for. They were going through like hard financial times at some point. And I remember when this was going to be one of these Christmases that we were going to go over there. And so this was the one time where they had us open up all of our big gifts at home and said, just take something small. We don't want you opening it up in front of Steven because of kind of what they're going through.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah.
even my parents had thrown a couple of bucks their way to help, get Steven something at the time. And I remember thinking, oh, that was huge, kind of like a cool thing for me and my sister to see as kids, like, be cognizant of what
Yeah.
others are going through. And so,
Mhm.
because it didn't really hit me. It's like, what do you mean? Why can't I open this? And then they kind of like broke it down, and I was like, oh, like don't even talk about it. Just let's enjoy the family being there and what your cousin
Mhm.
unwraps. And I was like, okay, cool. So
Yeah.
I was grateful to kind of experience that. Kind of like this is the season to give, the season to be with the family, but
Yeah.
also kind of
Mhm.
understand some people's situation.
Situations. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And like for us, it wasn't necessarily like my dad worked really good jobs to take care of support me and my sister because he was our parent. Like we raised us from birth. My mom was rarely in the picture, and she started wanting to be in the picture at certain points and stuff. And it was hard too because like she was super religious. Both like his side of the family is very, very religious and stuff. So like I remember a time where like I had like a Merlin whenever Lego started doing the medieval stuff again. I got the
Mm.
Merlin wizard tree hut thing. And I'm sitting there building it at my mom's, and like my stepdad comes in and he's like, "What is this? Is this witchcraft?" And he grabs it and freaking throws it in the trash. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I had
Mm.
my mom call my dad, and I was like, "This is unacceptable." And I'm like, I think I was like 11. I was pissed because like it's Lego, it's fiction, it's not real. And
So told him it was the Lego Doom set.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, right.
yeah, I'm fighting evil. Um, but he's my stepdad's a much cooler person now.
Yeah.
They're not together at all. But I still have he has the right for me to still call him stepdad. But he's a much better guy, and I'm glad that they're away from each other. For how my mom turned out. But it was just one of those things. It was awkward being in a place and feeling like you're kind of like you're there just because of formalities and not
Yeah,
because
well,
of
like you
actually
said, there
enjoying
was
it.
no
Right.
there was no thought process to it. It's just like, oh, little Vince and Ember need to be here. I said,
Hmm.
okay, well, do you have a plan? Like, what are we doing? What's no, they just need to be here. They're family. We're reconnecting.
Yeah. And so I mean that's
That
one
can
of
be
the
super awkward.
and that's why like I stopped wanting to go over there. I stopped wanting because I didn't want to be in a place that I didn't feel welcome.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
it's also one of the things of like for me personally, like when I give a gift, I give it with thought and from
Yeah.
the heart. And I don't ever want anybody to feel like I ever felt in that situation back then. And
Hmm.
um I take notes in my head about what people would like and enjoy, and then I'll give it out generously. I don't care, you
Yeah.
know. So, but yeah.
Is that your fail? Is
No.
that I was saying that that
I mean,
my
that is a
fails
fail.
my fails are funny, and then you come over here with this. And I was like,
No, no, no.
shit,
So,
man, what do
so
I do?
here, no, no. My fail, and I'll go into mine real quick so we can get on with it. Was did deal with my mom. So I remember my dad calling my mom when we were there, and she goes, "Well, I'm gonna go step out on the porch, talk to your dad about stuff." And I'm like, I knew what it was about. I knew it was about like she was talking to him about Christmas gifts and what they got, what we each of them got us. And I'm sitting there. I put my ear to the door to listen in. So and she sits there and says she got one of those remember the Looney Tune gangster theme shirts that were
Yeah,
of all the
Yeah.
wear the
rage.
clothes backwards.
And I'm like, I thought that shit was the lamest crap. You gotta understand, I did. I thought it was lame. And I was like, well, if I get in trouble, it's no big deal because I'm not losing any. But my sister's like, you're getting in trouble. And then I get back over there and I start playing my Super Nintendo because that was one of the lucky things I got to be able to do was take my Super Nintendo over there
Hmm.
whenever we'd go. And my mom comes in, she's like, Vince was listening in. He knows what you're gonna get him for Christmas. Oh, that's fine. He just won't get anything. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And it's like, I mean, the fail was the fact that my mom didn't know me enough to know what I liked.
Yeah.
But on top
That
of
you know what that was? That was the clothing version. Again, I hate to go
right,
back to it, but that was the clothing version of Lee Carvalho's putting challenge
yeah.
because that was like a hot item at the time. I had two of those shirts
Mhm.
when I was a kid. Uh,
My mom
so
wouldn't let me have those.
yeah, that was like it was kind of like a hot item then. That'd be like if you overheard her saying that she got, Pogs and Slammers. It's
Yes.
like, that was the hot item. You're not into it, but that was the hot item that all the
Yeah.
boys want.
I mean, if she would have said, "Hey, I got him like a couple of decks of Magic the Gathering and like a booster box or something," especially in '90,
No, no, I got him a troll doll
I would have been like,
and some
Control doll.
Lisa Frank merchandise, which,
right.
like, no lie, I would take
Uh,
some of that now. My dude who I work with has started collecting Lisa Frank stuff because
Man,
he's got like a whole 90s corner
he's got
in
94.
his room. It's like
First troll
Oh,
I
doll
no.
had I
I
Oh,
had
ever
one of
nice.
those,
got.
yeah, I had one.
There we go.
And
I
Yeah.
don't
I had
know.
Pogs and Slammers.
I don't know what
Amber had
happened to
him.
his clothes, but
I don't all mine were
yeah.
naked too. I feel like that's just how they
I
came.
think they were originally when they came, they were naked. It wasn't until later then they started doing themes and probably parents complaining, why
Well,
is there a naked baby and they're being given to kids?
this
Yeah.
one I remember distinctly having clothes. It actually had like jeans and a white t-shirt. I also have an
What?
Oh,
Olympic.
wow.
I also have an Olympic one that has like a red jumpsuit and blue hair, and then I've got the little blue, like the small ones didn't have clothes. That
Okay.
one I have like the little blue star and the blue hair that looks like a star. Like I was into treasure trolls. I don't know why. Um, but yeah, I've been there.
And so I mean, I guess the two other fails would be one, my dad not getting me Optimus Prime for Christmas one year, getting me the red truck GoBot, and him telling me that it was the cousin of Optimus Prime.
Wait, do you mean Smallfoot?
No,
Cousin, bro.
it was the bigger, it was literally the bigger orange and blue GoBot.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It
Okay.
was it was a Peterbilt. I mean, it was a Mack truck versus the Peterbilt.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Okay.
and no, if I take that back, it was a Peterbilt versus a Mack truck. Um, and I remember getting that. I was like, but this is Optimus Prime, Dad.
It's his
And he did it.
cousin.
He was, and to his day, I've told this story before, but to this day, he's like, that's only because I couldn't find him that year to
Oh,
get
I
him for
believe
you.
it. I believe
Yeah.
if he would have found it, he would have got it.
And then
But to
go
be
ahead.
fair, to be fair, as someone who liked GoBots, and I still do because I still have my collection of them, and I have my Rock Lords. Um, Mostly because Transformers in my Mexican neighborhood were practically non-existent.
Right.
And even if you could find one, chances are you ain't gonna be able to afford it unless it's on clearance at
They were
uh
expensive.
you
Kmart
know a Kmart or a Pick and Save or something like that.
or the Try and Save.
Yep. So
Or if you, yeah.
GoBots became mine by default because they were cheaper, they were widely available.
I think
Mhm.
that's what their whole point
Mhm.
was to be the cheaper alternative
Well,
to Transformers.
they actually hit the States before,
Yes.
a year before
Really?
the Transformers.
Yep.
And on top of that, it was a different brand in Japan. It was called
Mm-hmm.
Machine Robo, but they
Machine
didn't really
Robo.
have a cartoon until a little bit later. Transformers didn't have a cartoon at all until it came to the States and they decided to make that.
Yep.
See,
Because
my
it's
dad
all
working for the power company, he hated the word Transformers because he thought about like the stuff on the power lines. And he's I remember telling him the one year that I really wanted Transformers stuff. He's like, "What? You're interested in going into the business?" Like, what are you talking about?
oh my God. That reminds me of that your birthday, and as I brought over all the I wanted to because I wanted to show you the freaking fire truck Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus and how they could form into this giant ass robot because that was like one of the biggest at the
Uh-huh.
time. And from RID back in 2001, and I brought it over. We played games and stuff. You checked it out. You're like, this is cool, but like it was me, you, and I think Bobby and Robert were there, and maybe
See,
Brandon.
I was never a big Transformers kid
Yeah.
growing up. I was almost exclusively Ninja Turtles for a
Yep.
large portion of my life. When the
Yeah.
movie got re-released in theaters a couple of weeks ago or months ago, I was there to go see it. My secondary was G.I. Joe. So my
Mm-hmm.
two big ones were Ninja Turtles and G.I.
Yeah, Joe.
Joe. The first comics I ever bought were G.I. Joe comics. Those are my two big franchises growing up. And then of course I liked a whole bunch of like little small stuff. I was really into that TV show. I think it was actually called Cops. It was like an acronym.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I loved that show. Of course, I when I was really young, He-Man
Patrol
was my first
Organization
big
of Police Specialists.
right. I loved that show. He-Man was my first like love when I was really young. Um, but then once Ninja Turtles came and then like G.I. Joe, like it was all that
Yeah.
was exclusively my fandom. That's all I could like have room for in my head.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's where and that's why even like when I would get wrestling figures, I I mainly had more G.I. Joes than wrestling figures because of the articulation. I couldn't, if I'm sitting there playing with wrestling figures, I can't do any of the wrestling moves I want to do with these guys because they got like 2 points of art. See exactly, Zombie already
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
They got
yeah,
two points
yeah.
of
Words of
articulation.
articulation.
I can't do any moves with these things. You give me a G.I. Joe and I'm putting on a 5-star classic with these figures. That's all I give me two G.I. Joes. I'm pulling off wrestling moves that you would never dream of. That's why I love them. And my favorite ones were, funny enough, the Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter
Fighter.
G.I.
I
Joes that
had
they
those.
Yeah.
released.
I had
Uh,
Um,
those.
that my dad crushed with his car by accident.
Oh, geez.
We were moving and I had them in a box. And I remember taking it outside, and my baby sister, had just learned to walk, and she fell coming out of the house. So I dropped my stuff down real quick to turn around and go and pick her up. And my dad was backing up his truck. And I remember as I picked her up, I heard, I didn't even need to turn around. I knew exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And I said, is that all of my G.I. Joes? No, but those were my favorites that just got destroyed. So yeah, and I remember my daddy popped the truck into neutral, coasted, and because our driveway went down, and I went and opened it up, and it was total devastation. Except for one, my Guile managed to somewhat survive, but he fell apart afterwards. And I also had like a weird Spider-Man in there, uh, that I think I still have to this day, and he lost his arm, but the rest of him survived, and that's the oldest toy that I have somewhere. Oh
you
yeah, here
know,
he is. Here he is. My Spider-Man from that day. He was in the box as well. But I liked him because I can't really move his legs that far, but he had some pretty decent articulation.
articulation. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is looking at a survivor from the crush of '94.
You know, the funny thing is like on that day, the Giles theme goes with everything
Yeah.
became legend.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
He so even though Spider-Man was the only one, I don't know why he was in that box, but yeah, he survived the longest. Like I
Mhm.
said, he only lost his arm. Uh Guile fell apart like a few years later because what I would do when I was a kid when wrestling would come on, I'd have my GI Joes on my bed and I would wrestle with them while I'm watching. And so then I had to break out some new ones, and with Guile was there, and eventually over the course of a year, he just ended up falling apart. And
Yeah.
I didn't like using Spider-Man because in my head that was cheating because he was so much bigger than the other GI Joes, and I was just like, my
Yeah.
whole
But it's
thing I
Andre
set
the
up is
Giant.
ruined.
It's Andre the Giant, though, right?
There you go.
All right.
I
So
like that.
let's get into the fails for you guys, and then we can start wrapping this up.
Okay, so my fail, we kind of touched upon it. Again, is awesome as my mom did. You kind of have to know what you're looking for. So there was one Christmas in particular, I think it was my last PS1 Christmas before the legendary PS2 one. And I wanted just games that Christmas because that's when I found out about the backwards compatibility with PS2. So I just want games. So like Mortal Kombat Trilogy was the big one that I wanted, um, so on and so forth. And I also wanted a Game Shark as well, but I wanted the PS2 Game Shark. So there's a couple other like little accessories here and there. And yeah, my mom, had a busy Christmas that year because come the day, I open it up and six of the gifts were for the wrong system. Mortal Kombat Trilogy for 64. I mean, I didn't have a 64. Mortal Kombat Trilogy for 64. The Game Shark was for the 64. The memory card, uh, I think, was also the memory pack for the 64. I think this is what it was. It was all 64 stuff. And I had PlayStation. I remember opening it up and I was like, did she get me a Nintendo 64? I was like, I mean, this is already like 1998 or whatever. So it's like, or no, it's 99. So it's like, well, I mean, hell yeah, I can get like, WWF No Mercy or something like that. I mean, it's cool. Yeah, I guess. Uh, Kind of odd that I'm getting a 64, when the year PS2 is coming out, but okay. And I go through all my gifts, and there's a couple music CDs that I'd gotten as well. No Nintendo 64. And she's like, "Hey, did you like it? Is everything cool?" And I was like, "You didn't get me a Nintendo 64?" She goes, "You already have a Nintendo." I said, "No, Mom, I have PlayStation. The list I gave you was for PlayStation stuff." She's like, "What?" She gets her purse and she goes and, unfolds the paper because I remember I printed out everything and I put pictures. And she looks at it and I was like, "See, this says for Nintendo 64. I have PlayStation." And she looks, she goes, "Oh, son of a bitch." And gets all of them together and looks and she's like, "Well, I guess I ruined Christmas." I was like, "No, I mean, like, you could take them back and just swap them out. I'm pretty sure there's no big deal.
Yeah.
I got music CDs that I'm good with, and I think I was still playing something at the time that, so it's not like, I mean, yes, this was like one of the times I learned that it's the thought that counts. And I was like,
Mhm.
it's not the end of the world. Even if you don't go tomorrow, the day after Christmas, you go a week from now. That's fine.
Hmm.
And that's what she ended up doing. Of course, she wasn't going to wait a week. She's like, oh, hell no, I'm going to correct this. And so she was out there the next day and went and swapped everything around. But I remember sitting there thinking, like, damn, man, she went like over 6 on this one. But me printing the stuff out and her keeping it, of course, she always kept receipts. That helped out in this situation. And she's like, oh, I'll fix this. And so yeah, it was that was a fun one going through, and it's like, okay, it's 1999, and I'm getting a Nintendo 64 apparently, and okay, all right. And I get to the end, no Nintendo 64. What the hell?
Let me
So
go
yeah,
back
that
in.
was that was the big fail.
Let me go back in time. I'll give you one of the extra ones I have. I'll just hey, I know you don't know who I am, but
Came from the
this
future.
is a gift from your friend Vince. And then I would have been like, "What? I don't remember giving you a 64." But who the fuck is
You'd
this
have to
guy?
go back. Remember, we knew each other before the 64
Oh,
came
I know
out.
we did. Yeah, yeah, I know.
You have to go way
But
back.
you wouldn't know who this old man is looking in right now in the camera
Gotta
at
Man,
go
that time.
back in
I'd have
time.
recognized you. I'd have recognized you, and I would have
What
recognized your voice too.
what are the lottery numbers, Vince? You came back and
Yeah,
gave
I
me a
know, right?
64. Why didn't you give me the lottery numbers?
I was like, man, that stuff's historical. I was like, you don't have the internet in 2025? It's 1995. We got it now. You can't look that up.
Right.
Great Scott. Anyway,
All right. So Zombie or Jason? Which one of you two?
Who's got the next fail?
um,
Or maybe something you were anticipating that you didn't get, and you're like, oof.
trying to think. I mean, some of my fails were turned out to be wins only because of the way they played the trick on me. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I can't think of an actual fail. But then again, I don't know, maybe it's my age showing now. I'm pushing 49 now, so like I don't remember everything from back then. I just remember the big stuff that I thought were going one direction and went the other way. Um, I guess would be technically the Super Nintendo. I kept trying to get my parents to get it. Um, I ended up getting it myself, so that's the closest thing to a fail, I guess, because he just
That's
never
pretty
bought
good.
the
That's pretty
other.
good, all things considered.
Yeah, I don't remember. There's probably some real weird fails that I cannot just think of right now, but you know.
We got a Canadian branch up there. And whenever you were talking about your one day of Thanksgiving, it reminds me whenever our Canadian branch shuts down for that one day. But the guy I work with was telling me a story about that ice storm that you guys had.
Oh, that would have
Well,
been
the
in 98.
99,
98.
98. Yeah,
Yeah,
and he was telling me how tough that year was. And he basically didn't have a Christmas because he almost didn't even have a home.
And
that's
With
true.
how bad it was, because I think it not only did it just shut down everything, but the as it began to thaw, this old tree they had in the backyard fell on the house
Yep.
as the ice began to thaw. And apparently I didn't realize this. I mean, I knew about the ice storm, and it's after he told me about it, I ended up watching a documentary just about how crazy that was that hit that during that year.
Yeah,
A
so
lot
it
of
was
people had trees fall, which
a
was
lot of
nuts.
trees fell. People didn't have power for a good while too.
Hmm.
So you're talking about like
No
Canada,
heat.
no heat.
yeah,
So like I was one of the lucky ones. I wasn't living in the town that I'm living in right now. This is my family town where most of my family is. So we did branch out of some areas. But during the year 1998, I was living in Ottawa, which at my place we had a backup generator. So we actually had power for the
Mm.
building. But where my mom and um, her boyfriend at the time, her husband to be, and a lot of my family members, they were dealing with the ice storm during that time. So I didn't get the chance to be with my family at that point either.
Mm.
So that is probably the biggest fail that we've had, and it
Yeah.
was act of nature happening. But it was horrible for a lot of people. It was not an easy time for some. Uh, because there was no power, no heat. They had to. They ended up using the snow as essentially keeping their food fresh enough, like their meats and that, because they couldn't keep it in the fridge and things like that. Trees fell. There was a lot of damage. I don't know about. I don't want to get morbid or anything about you know any death or anything like that. I can't recall that part, but um, no, I was just happened to be in a right town compared to where I could have been during that time frame, but I wasn't around
Mm.
my family either. So it was just me and my friends trying to get through the 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks of no power for where I'm living now. And I can't imagine what it would have been like because I wasn't in that situation particularly. We were dealing with the weather, but at least I had the power, you know. So, and when that happened around January, like Christmas, January sort of thing. So
Wow.
it was crazy. It was I was about 20, 21 years old at the time. So I actually almost forgot all about it until you mentioned it. I'm like, oh my god, yes, 1988. But yeah, so that's my biggest fail.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with that one.
there you go.
Yeah, that works.
Nice. Oh boy.
Did you have one,
Yeah,
zombie?
I got plenty. So very rarely did Santa or my mom fail. Very rarely.
Yeah.
My mom, for somebody who doesn't know jack about me, and I can say that because one, she's probably not going to see this. She doesn't watch YouTube anyway, but she knows that's true. The only reason she knows any of the things that I'm into is because she has seen my game collection, she has seen my toy collection, she has seen my movie collection. She knows what I'm about through that. Um, and I have always told her, well, this is what I'm telling Santa, this is what I'm telling you. So she never had a knack for picking out something she knew that I wouldn't like. As a matter of fact, the first 5 NES games I got, I'm surprised she knew that I would like those, that I even wanted them, because I don't even remember telling her that I wanted those. But I remember the first big fail was the year I wanted a guitar. Um, I'm a drummer by nature, but I have always been a guitar enthusiast. I always wanted one. My grandfather even tried to get me one, like an authentic electronic guitar. Just it never happened. So once again, we go by KB Toys at our local mall, and they happen to have a guitar there for sale. And my mom's like, "Hey, didn't you say you wanted a guitar?" And she points at it, and I said, "Mom, that's not a real guitar. That is a toy with fake strings on it. You're better off
Jeez.
you're better off getting me one of those that's just keys and I can pretend that I'm playing it."
A keytar.
Keith.
I did own a keytar. So yeah, I
Oh,
did
there
have
we go.
one. I did have one. Um, but I said, no, I want like an authentic, Fender. I want a Stratocaster. That was the highlight that year. I said, I don't even care if I got a birthday that year. I just want a real guitar. And so I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, and my mom's telling me like, oh, I'm looking at guitars for you and whatnot. Wake up expecting to see at least an authentic knockoff of some kind. It's the one we saw at KB. It's got the dorky picture of the kid pretending he's all cool playing it, and you know that he probably got beat up in the schoolyard after he posed for that.
Hey, is this you?
Yeah.
No,
And
no, not at all.
and it comes with like a little amp that you can click onto your belt. It's got like a headset for some stupid reason. It
Oh
was the
God.
it was the dorkiest kid I had ever seen. And I'm sitting there and I open it up and I said, I'll try to make this work. I'll try. And I'm sitting there trying to pluck the strings. The strings are plastic. They're not even real guitar strings. And I'm in such a shit mood. I literally just felt all the joy get out, just leak out of me. And my mom wakes up and she's like, "Hey, Santa brought you a guitar after all." And I looked at her with like a murderous grin. I said, Mom,
This was Krampus's doing.
Santa is not stupid. Santa knows what a real guitar is. He didn't drop this off. And she's like, well, you told Santa you wanted a guitar. I said, Mom, I told you and Santa what specific guitar I wanted. In fact, it was Santa who recommended to me that I should get a Squire Stratocaster because it was small and it was perfect for a kid my age. So I don't think that Santa brought this KB Toy Store knockoff. I was mad. I was legit mad.
Oh, dang.
I did not even care what happened the rest of the day. And my grandfather comes in, and God bless that man. He could make a sound off of the most dilapidated piece of shit instrument you could give him. I actually have one of his acoustic guitars that he managed to play and make sound so amazing with only 4 strings and broken tuning knobs. He comes in, and my tata spoke Spanish and English. So he would be like, Jesse, give me that pinche guitarra. Let me see. And he's trying the strings out, trying to play everything. And I just hear him go, Mekin chingada, what is this?
Starts to dawn on him slowly but surely.
And he calls my mom over and he's like, Lisa. And he goes, ¿Qué quieres esa chingada guitarra? Where did this come from? And he was mad too. And she's like, Dad, Santa gave that to him. Santa cagada nothing. He did not bring that shit. So we were both mad. And up until that time, it probably is still the biggest fail out of all my Christmases. And I could not wait to get rid of that thing. Eventually, I bought my own guitar. Eventually, I started building a somewhat collection. And I remember my mom saying years later, why did you buy a guitar out of all the things you can afford right now? I said, Mom, because you remember that year that Santa brought me that one that you said that he got for me? Santa got me the job that he knew I needed to pay for this damn thing. So that's why I'm getting it. And I said, it's funny though, because how did Santa know what to get me, but yet he still showed up with this crap? Tell me. Explain that to me, Mother. So that was probably the biggest fail I could think of. The one time I was genuinely not happy on Christmas, and I don't even think I got a game that year that could have salvaged it. Just man, if I was old enough to drink, I'd have hit the bottle.
Check the chat right now.
The second thing that I could think of, it's actually the reverse of what Jason said, where he thought he was anticipating something bad and it turned into something good. Mine was the reverse of that. I was anticipating something good and then had something bad happen.
Right.
The year that this Christmas rolled around.
Oh, let me ask you a question. Hold on, real quick. I'm sorry. You said it had a separate amp you could clip onto your belt?
Yes.
Okay, so there was something going on if you pluck these fake strings. Did it actually produce a sound that came out of that little belt amp? Or did it just guess what you were doing?
All it did was just try to make these plastic strings sound like real guitar strings. It wasn't even an amp in any way, shape, or form.
Gee.
The headset didn't even work. Just
Oh my God.
I mean, if Santa was to say that year, Jesse, I hate you, that would
was
have
a
been the
message.
year. That would have been the year
Yeah.
it happened. And I'm still bitter over that to this day. So if my mom tries to bring it up, I'm like, don't you dare blame Santa for that.
Yeah, because
That
like I mean,
the picture I put into the Zoom chat was what I had in my head.
I'll have to take a look at that. Um,
um, I all I can imagine is like Santa's like, he's been good this year, but somebody packed the packages wrong. Like, so he something how somehow you got the wrong guitar. And then but on top of that, it's like, could you imagine we were good all year, but then he gave you coal? It's like, yes, I can
yeah.
barbecue.
Now,
Yeah, you
granted,
could actually do something with it.
one toy I remember wanting as a kid that I would have tolerated back then, but this wasn't the year I asked for it because I was older and I was smarter. I had hit sticks as a kid. There was the
Oh,
hit
I remember
guitar,
those.
and then there was also a toy guitar that actually had strings on it.
Hmm.
It was the Kawasaki Jam guitar. I remember wanting that. It was made by Remco in '89, and I would have settled for that. This thing put every cheap knockoff you could think of in existence to shame. Any of those toys that you would have seen probably at like one of those little Asian markets or one of those 99-cent stores where they clearly sell things higher than $1. Any of those guitar toys you would have seen there would have made me feel like I actually got a Fender Stratocaster. This thing was such a hunk of junk. Um,
And
I
Raphael's like, and tell me you didn't pay money for this.
you
Tell me
know,
you didn't pay money for this.
yeah, I clearly, again, I was so mad at her for trying to blame Santa for that fuck up.
Did she
Um,
take it? Did she take it out of the box too and put it?
no, I I I saw it there and I was ready to pick it up and throw it in the trash because it was the equivalent of getting like the middle finger times four. Like you couldn't have told me you hated me that much to have wound up with that thing. And I know it was her because she was the one that had pointed it out and was trying to sell me on, oh no, this is a real guitar. It's got strings. So can a milk carton if I put strings on it. That doesn't make it a guitar, you know? I probably would have got a decent sound out of that compared to this crap. So obviously you
Yeah.
can still see and hear that I have resentment
That meant
over this to this day. Um, but nonetheless, I got over that somewhat. Um,
Okay, let me
just
ask you this. If you out like legit, if you are out in the wild, you're thrifting right now at your age, and you actually came across that KB guitar, is there any small part of you that'd be like, you know what, for the shits and giggles, I'm gonna buy it? Or would you be like,
yes,
hell no?
I would buy it just for the sole purpose of going up to my mom's house,
giving it to her as a gift.
giving it to her, while also showing off my real Ibanez bass and saying, "Look, mom, this is what the real thing looks like." What did Santa give me apparently?
Compare.
Let's see this real quick.
Oh,
You know, I
yeah.
would definitely do that just to show her how that probably traumatized me and led me down a path that I eventually left. Uh, but other than that, I would say what I would have considered a disappointment back then, but in all actuality really wasn't, was the year that I was asking for the Tiger Game Calm because
Uh,
that was supposed to be the hot new handheld. And what sold me on that was you can connect to the internet, you can play your friends online,
that's
all
how
of
I felt
the,
about the N-Gage.
yep,
The calm, I don't want to say I didn't fall for it, but the calm, I was just like, it was like, why is the screen not in color? I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what why I never really got on board. And correct me if I'm wrong, Vince, but didn't Alex get a game com?
You got a game called. I have the game called. I need to replace the screen on it, but
You need
it's
to like pretend you don't have it.
hey, I have Sonic for it and I have Resident Evil 2, but that's it.
Yep.
Now I've seen people do videos about the N-Gage, and that thing kind of had a little bit of promise. I don't think I've ever
Yes.
seen anything positive about the game com.
There really wasn't anything
No.
positive about it.
No.
Um, I was a sucker. I fell for the commercials.
Mm.
I was sitting back thinking, well, the Game Boy is still going strong. So obviously you don't need to have a color system to be successful. I mean, yeah, granted the Game Gear was good. It does have a somewhat decent library. The Lynx is shit. There's hardly any good games on that one. And
It's all about this.
I'll
Oh,
never be able to
geez.
afford a Turbo Express.
It's all about this. The Neo Geo Pocket.
And then
Yeah, yeah.
the Nomad, I didn't really count the Nomad. It was just playing
No,
Genesis games.
yeah, it was just a Genesis
But
remote.
hey, the Neo Geo Pocket Color to this day still has the greatest system music of
I don't have
any
batteries in it, or
system.
I would put it on so you can hear
It's the best. No, it's the
it.
one that goes well, when you're in the system menu.
Yeah, when you're in system
Yeah.
menu, yeah.
That it's still the best. Nobody else is brave enough to try to put some dope tunes into their system music. It's all like ethereal, atmospheric,
PlayStation 2
like on
waves
PS5.
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
the three.
Right.
So let me give me some chip tune. Let me see what you got.
So yeah, I fell for that, and because I didn't have a home computer, I thought, hey, maybe if I got this console, it would solve all my problems, like how I viewed having a PS2. Why buy a DVD player when it's built in? Two for
Hmm.
one. So
Yep.
that
Hmm.
was my mindset on that. I asked Santa, I go through the usual channels. I said, Mom, in case Santa, for whatever reason, can't seem to deliver a game com like he couldn't deliver a guitar that year, maybe maybe you can help me out.
Yep.
Go to bed, wake up, don't see it. And I'm
Oh
like,
man.
are we establishing a trend here? Like, where did I go wrong? You know, I leave you cookies and milk out every year. I'm in school. I'm not breaking any laws. Where the hell did I go wrong?
Maybe you didn't ask him what type of cookies he wants with your list of things that you want.
There we
I
go.
come from a Mexican household. We are known for entertaining and providing. I would have 4 or 5 different types.
Yeah. There you
Pick
go.
and choose, my friend, you
And
know?
instead of
Snickerdoodles
leaving
and
out milk, I left out horchata. So
yeah, there you
There you
go.
go. You know,
With
here's
a
some
little bit
bean
of rum.
burritos for the trip, you know?
Maybe that's what it was. He got some bad milk, or he got some or eggnog with some rum in it, and he was like he was drunk and he mixed up your gift with somebody else's.
Oh
some other
no.
poor kid had to deal with the game com.
Well, why couldn't that same poor kid get my lame ass guitar? That's what I want to know. Well, here's how
Well,
I
I
turned
fell
the
for the Game Boy camera and printer, so and
here's
that ended up hurting.
here's how I turned that frown upside down though. So eventually, like what we've all kind of shared at some point, we eventually earned our own money to buy the damn thing. I went to a KB's at an outlet mall. The console was like 15 bucks. Brand new. It was clearanced out.
Well,
Games were like 5 bucks a pop, still factory sealed. And you know how KB's used to write in, the clearance price with the red pen, you know. That's the bargain bin, 3 for 10, all that kind of stuff. So eventually I bought one. I bought Fighters Mega Mix for GameCon because I love that game on the Saturn.
mhm.
Bought an adapter. I can't see a damn thing on it because the LCD is so bad. And this is from Tiger, who I still have my childhood collection of handhelds.
And
They
wasn't the
should
ghosting really
know.
bad on it too?
I
Yes,
think so, yeah.
Oof.
really, really bad. You would think they would know how to do LCDs by now, but it was so horrible, even with the contrast and holding it in the right angle and all that jazz.
Mhm.
And then I learned about, oh, well, yeah, you can get on the internet, but you have to buy the Gamecom modem. You got to buy the Gamecom internet cartridge. you have to connect it to your pre-existing modem for some stupid reason, and the Gamecom can only do text-only websites anyway. So again, I found out all this after I bought it, so I said, okay, so Santa, looking out for me. I appreciate that. All right. You didn't want to give my hopes up. I appreciate it. I took my whole Gamecom collection, I sold that, and I bought Mega Man's 1 through 6. So
You came out on top in the end.
Yeah, you
yes,
did.
I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it brings up what Zombie went through. That brings up a really good thing. If you want to end it with this, I would like to add: is there something, preferably in the video game realm, but if not, that's cool too, that you fell for? So obviously the Gamecom, I don't know if you can beat that. I consider falling for the Game Boy printer and camera because I used a whole birthday for that for my Game Boy Color. And I did not have as much fun as I thought I was going to. I remember taking a bunch of pictures and printing out a bunch of stuff. But I mean, it was essentially a glorified like calculator paper. You know, you hit the uh, the quality was terrible. The printer wasn't great, even though if you got like the sticker paper that came, like there's another roll that you could buy where you could make
Mhm.
stickers. Even that wasn't that great because I would like get them and I'd print them out and like I'd put them on the computer monitor, you know, CRT, it's got a whole bunch of space. So I'm like putting them all over the place and they'd fall off. Like the glue was crap. And I just remember thinking like, dude, I wasted like because normally again, like at my birthdays, I would keep really low key to back end everything for Christmas. But I wanted the stupid camera and printer so bad because they were advertising it during wrestling. Oh my gosh. And
I have two.
I remember thinking like, oh, I'm gonna take it to school and take pictures of all my friends. And so then I did, and then I got back home like, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna print it out, and I'm just like, I just got all these little receipt papers of my friends at school. You can barely tell who's who in some of these, and it just fell flat. I was like, this wasn't what I thought it was gonna be, and I ended up bundling the camera, the printer, my Game Boy, and the games with to Alex to get his Neo Geo Pocket Color and his games. And I remember talking to him later, like, I was like, did you have fun with the camera and the printer? And he said, no, he sold that. He just wanted to play Pokemon Yellow. Is the main reason
Nice.
why we swapped, why he accepted the trade. And I was like, damn, really? He's like, yeah, he had no use for it.
What color was the camera?
Well, my Game Boy Color was green because that was like my favorite color as a kid.
Hmm.
My Game Boy Pocket
I didn't
Color.
get that. I didn't get a Game Boy Color from him, but what color was the camera?
That I don't remember.
Because I have a red
Probably
and
purple.
I have a red and blue, and I have the printer paper, and I have the printer. So I probably have the printer and the
Wow.
printer paper from you. I
That
wasn't
because you
sure I
got it from
wanted
Alex.
because I got it from Alex. Remember, because I bought his old collection.
That would be crazy if that w was mine. That's the only thing is I honestly don't remember what those looked like. I just remember that my Game
Yeah,
Boy Color
I
was
have to get
green,
them out of a tote. They're in a tote right now. I can't get to access to them right away.
Nice.
but that was like my biggest. I wanted that so bad, and it just ended up like, oh, this is just kind of it. And I remember there was a
Mhm.
dude at Game Crazy when I
Todd,
was really, it was the English guy, and it was when I was at the height of like wanting
oh,
this camera and printer. And I asked him, I said, because this was before the word selfie was a thing. And I was like,
Right.
okay, well, you can take pictures of yourself, but can you rotate the camera ball at the top to take pictures facing outward? And I remember he grabbed it and he touched it. He's like, no, it doesn't appear you can. I was like, damn, that sucks. So that means I'm gonna have to take my Game Boy and turn it to where the screen is facing who I want to take a picture of and just be like, okay, let me know when you're lined up and I'll hit A to take the picture. And of course, coming to find out, yes, you can rotate the ball. I was like, you son of a bitch. Kind of like
Mhm.
Zombie remembering, you know, the freaking dude trying to dissuade him from getting the goddamn
regular Game Boy.
regular Game
Yeah.
Boy. I never
Yeah.
forgot that dude telling me that the Game Boy camera head didn't swivel. It
Yep.
did. You were holding it in your hands, you were turning it the wrong way, apparently, after all these years. I still remember. But I
Hmm.
mean, I was still dead set on getting in. No, it wasn't great.
All I can think of is Parasite Eve, the third the third birthday. That to me, that game is trash, and I was hyped into it, ready to go, hoping I was going to play Aya and all this other
No,
stuff.
that's not yours. Yours, I know what yours is.
Okay,
Yours is getting Wild Arms 2 that wouldn't play on your fucking modded PS PlayStation, and how heartbroken your ass was. This became a whole deal because Vince had a modded PlayStation,
I was the only one in my all of our friends that had
and
a mod of
he used to
PlayStation.
brag about all the stuff he could do, and then he was like, "Oh
Yeah.
man, Wild Arms 2's coming out. I'm so excited." And then he got it, and he's like, it detected the mod chip in his PlayStation or some weird shit, and it wouldn't play. And Vince was like, "Oh."
I had to
I
go
mean,
take it. I had to go take it to Chris, who cut the soldering, and he said that he was going to try to order a switcher, but we never did that. So yeah,
and you didn't
I
get, so if I'm not mistaken, you didn't get to play it until you got your PS2, right? Wild
no
Arms
no
2?
no, I had to cut out the mod chip,
Oh, okay.
and I have the mod
Oh,
chip
okay.
somewhere in a tote somewhere
So
still.
him cutting it out let you play the game, but
Hmm.
he was going to try to put it back in with a switcher so you could like
Yeah, so I
turn
can
it on and off. Ah,
switch between having it on or off. Yeah,
okay, okay. Yeah. But that I remember that. That was
I was pissed, dude. I was so excited for Wild Arms 2. I was like, but is that a fail? I mean, it is a fail, but it's a
well, I'm talking about
setback.
it's a disappointment because here you are
Yes,
talking
yeah.
about mod chip this and I can do this and that. I mean, yeah, granted, even my friend Brandon, he got a modded PlayStation and he would go and rent games from Blockbuster and burn them on his computer because they had like an 8 time CD-ROM or like a CD rewritable. And so that's what they would do. His dad encouraged it. He's like, hell yeah, let's just do it this way. And would play burn games. That was the
Mainly
main
for
reason he
me,
got it.
yeah, ours was because we were getting imports and stuff. I had like what all three Dragon Ball Z games and then the
Hmm.
Macross and I think like five other games that I was like,
Yeah,
oh yes.
you were devastated. I will never forget that.
Yeah.
That was a major disappointment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good times anyway.
Jason.
Well,
What
um,
didn't live up to the hype?
that's a harder question. Um, Honestly, I was going to go with a different approach on it with the game Dr. Mario, actually. Um, I got that game, loved the game for the first few levels. Then, because I'm colorblind, I was having a tougher time with the later levels. They
Oh,
started to mesh more and more. So I was not having a good time with it. And as much as I was enjoying the game, I couldn't enjoy it further than that. So that was probably where I felt disappointed out of the game. Not because of the game itself per se, I guess, at that point. I was mad.
hell
uh,
yeah.
because I really wanted to play this game. I love the puzzle stuff. It felt like, oh, this is a different style of puzzle versus Tetris, which I enjoyed too. Um, but I couldn't play it. I couldn't. I keep trying to this day, and I still can't play Dr. Mario too far into it. I think like stage 5 or something like that. And the color, they threw in a different variation, and then I just couldn't tell. They were meshing too much. But what came out of that, I traded it with one of my friends for Snake Rattle and Roll, which I thoroughly enjoyed as well. Uh, and the other disappointment would have been the third birthday as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm very mad about that because I love
I
the first two.
mhm. At least I'm not the only one. We're on the same page there because I mean it was a complete step down, and I played the game all the way through,
Well, here
Oh,
you
I couldn't
and
even
go,
do that. I own
Jason.
the game.
If you do emulation, there's a colorblind hack.
Is there?
I just put it in the chat if you want to download it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I don't know how to pronounce these, but they have one for deuteranopia, protanopia, and tritanopia.
Yeah. So later on in life, I know which variation I'm really bad with, and that's the red and green. But there is different levels of that, so I'll
Mhm.
have to look at the. I think it's the.
Yeah, they have if you click the link, they have little screenshots in there for you that shows you the guy said he made it on a whim for his colorblind brother
Oh, I appreciate
Oh,
that.
that's awesome.
called Dr. Mario Recolor.
Yeah, Protanopia, I think is the one I have
Mm.
problems with the most, but I got that now. I may revisit
Yeah,
There
you
you
could
go.
stream it. You could
You're
stream
good.
it
Dr.
too, man. That'd be
Stream
awesome.
it and beat it for
Yeah,
Christmas.
Yeah, yeah,
There we
for
go. That'll be one.
sure.
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
If only we could rectify things like this a lot easier, you know. I don't think you can fix the third birthday unless they like with a patch. Unless technically we got what Parasite or Mutant coming out. That's
Oh,
not
that
Square.
looks actually really good.
Looks really good.
What
Yeah,
is that?
Parasite Mutant. It's not by Square. It's a total different
but you can
company.
clearly
See
see
the inspiration.
Oh yes.
You're not playing A, you're playing some other blonde girl that has the similar powers. It plays just like Parasite Eve
Mhm.
1. It looks awesome.
It's designed. Apparently, this character was designed by the Stellar Blade people. Good lord.
Hey, that I still need to
I
play that game.
enjoyed Stellar Blade.
Yeah.
Yes, I recommended it to you guys when we
I
did
have it. I just like I'm right now I'm at
I like the art style to this though.
I think I'm at
This looks like
50
PS2 to me almost.
I'm at
Mhm.
50 games completed this year, and I'm trying to see what I can squeeze out. And I don't think I can finish that in the time I have allotted left for the end of the year.
Fair enough. Can always
Yeah.
put it to the next year.
Yeah, because that's why like I'm playing Stories from Saul, the Gundog,
Mhm.
which is fantastic. I was telling Jason about it. It is a
I'll
visual
have to put this on
novel
my wish list.
that takes place like in like a Gundam style universe. You're this ex-pilot who had a traumatic experience during the end of a like this 3-year war. He gets stationed on a ship that's going out past Saturn or Jupiter,
Yeah.
and his girlfriend is there, and they're out there to explore stuff, and it's really cool. It kind of reminds me of playing Snatcher a little bit with like the point click a little. You kind of select what you're looking for, and it's not voice acted at all. Everything is text read to you, but you just have like stationary scenes. You can click on things. There's a little bit of action movement, but that's about it.
Yeah,
Really,
do you
really
have
cool.
different dialogue trees kind of thing?
Yes, you do. You have
Yeah,
different
that's
some for
what I thought.
some different dialogue trees. You have also you can change the filters of the game instead of just making it where it's bright color anime style. You can actually make it like two-tone gray or green gray white. It's pretty cool looking.
Yeah, definitely want to check it out.
Yeah, let me put that in the chat because we were talking about that. Me and you were talking about that earlier. I sent it to
Yeah.
you.
I think you put it in the general chat, did you not?
No, I put it on yours
Oh,
directly.
that's right. That's right. Okay. I knew you put it somewhere, but
This isn't the exact set, but this is close enough.
Oh wow, I remember this. Hold on, I remember this. I remember
It-
seeing this.
It didn't have the microphone
Oh
and stand.
man.
It was a headset, but this is close enough. And the amp wasn't as big as this amp is. It was like belt sized.
I think I remember seeing that as a
It's like
kid
the
too.
size. It's like a
Very
size of an
similar
effects
anyway.
pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
It,
seen
Wow.
it was a setup like this. If I find the identical one, because I know it was only through KB that had it. If I
Yeah.
find the identical one, I will definitely post a picture of it. But this is as close as you
So
can
you're gonna
get to it.
yeah. That's awesome.
In the chat, I've added since you guys told me about this Parasite Mutant. Keep a couple of these other ones on your radar if you like new retro style games. Big one coming out that's going to be. It reminds me a lot of the Alien versus Predator game on PlayStation, not the Jaguar one, the PlayStation
yeah,
one that was like a
PlayStation one.
survival horror game, even though it was hard as fuck.
Yeah.
It's called Derelict.
I've
Looks
heard about
super
Derelict.
cool.
Yeah.
Another one that has come out that I will be buying and playing after I finish Flesh Made Fear. It's called Heartworm. This is more Resident Evil slash Silent Hill.
I
And
think I've heard
then
of that one.
yeah, that one I think people have already streamed it. And the big one that I have the most hopes for is a PS1 style game called Nightmare Operator. But the devs have kind of gone quiet, so everyone's worried about it. But if you look at the trailer for Nightmare Operator, it's gonna blow your mind. Um, I really hope they don't abandon this one. This one would be kind of a heartbreaker because it looks incredible. So when people talk about like that PS1 aesthetic, this is what I like. Take the PS1 aesthetic, but obviously put a little bit more horsepower behind it. This is what I imagine you could do with it. That's Nightmare Operator. So check that out.
So let's end this real quick. I gotta run to
Yeah.
the restroom, but I do have one to tell you guys about that I saw that somebody just did. It was really cool. I'm trying to find it. If I could find a video, because I saw it on Facebook, but somebody took they demade Resident Evil 2,
Oh, I love
but
D-Makes.
put
Mhm.
they've set it like it's set in Requiem. So it's like after the nukes, like Leon's coming back to Raccoon City. So it's like you see him go through areas you see him originally, but it's all destroyed and cars are still there, but they're rusted. There's sand everywhere. He goes inside the RPD building and he can't get anywhere, of course, because the building's collapsed. But you see like the sun rays coming in. It looks awesome. And I'm like, man, I'd love someone to actually fully flesh this out and make that a some kind of demake of Requiem, but from like Leon's perspective, because we don't know how Leon's going to affect in the game. We know he's in it, but we don't know anything about it. We haven't seen any trailers.
Hmm.
But all right,
I have mixed.
guys. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say I have mixed feelings about that. I just I
Another
wanted to
new.
be about another. I want her to be more involved. If I don't need Leon to be taking center stage, if anything.
I agree. I think I brought that up to somebody else before. They're like, "Well, but Leon's cool." I'm like, man, I've had my fill of Leon, and I like Chris, but I've had my fill of Chris. I think they
Hmm.
have a cast of characters that they could utilize. Carlos, he's
Mhm.
farting around somewhere. My dream would be they bring back an adult Rebecca,
Oh
and
yeah.
Yeah.
we
Yeah, I
find out that
agree.
she. I always figured she knew a lot more, or they could have played up on the fact that she had to have known a lot more than what she was letting on to. Whether or not you want to consider it story canon, but the fact that Wesker had that picture of her in his desk,
Hmm.
the fact that she went through, of course, they can't retcon it, but she goes through that whole thing with Resident Evil Zero and then shows up acting like she don't know shit in the mansion.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I feel like there's a lot they could have played up on with her, maybe, being a double agent or whatever you want to consider it. But you have Rebecca out there that you could do a lot with that they just aren't, and I don't like
Well,
it.
and then my thing is that they need to have the last hurrah with the original characters, like let them do their
Yeah,
thing and then move on.
yeah,
I
100%.
think nine should have been that instead of having her and then just completely start from the beginning was like 10 was somebody else.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But I get
Because they
it.
really did they planted a lot of seeds, and especially in the village with Chris, and they could
Yeah.
have finished his story
hmm
and go with something now
Yeah, because you
new.
could have
But
had it to where
I
like,
still need to play that DLC.
hey, there's this situation going on in the old Raccoon City outskirts of town or whatever, or in the town itself, even though it's basically destroyed. We need to go back. And like the whole team goes, Chris, because this still takes place after 8, but before the end sequence in the credits with Rose or whatever her name is, the daughter of Ethan.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's not a time jump with this. This is literally right after a couple months or so after.
Oh, Requiem is a couple
Yeah,
months after Village,
Village. Yeah,
or the end
after
of the Village.
they
okay,
find
Okay.
after the part where they deal with the Mega Mycete and stop all that stuff. This is supposed to be back to the roots, but it's still before what happens at the end of the credits. So
gotcha.
yeah, but I would love because like I mean, 17 years from now, Chris is already 45 at this point in the games. I mean, you had another 17, he's pushing almost 70. And
Hmm.
Barry's dead. Rebecca, I mean, is probably close to her late 40s. You
Yeah,
know,
finish their storyline.
Yeah, I
Keep
would finish their
adding more
storyline.
with Chris lately. Leon does more so in CG movies than the games. Like, when was his last official game besides 4?
And I think
It
Oh,
would have been
six.
6. It'd have been 6
Yeah,
with him
6,
and
yeah.
Chris.
yeah, six,
Yeah.
yeah. And then on top of that, I mean, but you think about the remake with 4, you have the remake with 3, and we just had, we also just had the remake of 2, all that stuff back to back. So it's like we've gotten Leon heavily lately.
Yes.
But I would like it to where I'm hoping that like everybody shows up. It'd be great, and then they have their final thing with this.
But
But
present it to me. I'm still looking forward to playing Requiem. It does look pretty badass. So.
oh, and too, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that like the whole open world being able to traverse throughout the city. We don't know what's happened since then, so it's going to be very interesting. And I know this isn't very Christmas-y, but
Oh, that's okay.
could be. All right, everyone. We thank you. We hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year. And we'll see you in the next episode. Be good. Stay safe. Be on that nice list.
Oh, yeah.
Or you might get a fake guitar that you didn't like.
Or those dog treats.
Or those dog treats, yeah. All right. Okay.
The wounds that never heal.
I know.